whiners, you know? People who just complain. I had a guy in a joint one time, cell next to me, and he used to yap about everything. He used to yap about the food, and yap about the guards, and yap about this, and yap about that, and yap all night long. Fucking yap. Like a fucking 747, you know what I mean? Like an engine stuck right between your ears, and you can't get away from it because he's right next to you, you know what I mean?
Love y'all, boys. Love you. I go to war with every single one of you, every fucking game, all right? Love you, 1-7. Here we go! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3! Win!
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have me douse, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
It's showtime.
Welcome to Friday Night Lights. I'm your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the TOP, from the 313. What is going on, Bills Mafia? Man, Friday night, we made it. And y'all made it, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I know tonight some of y'all probably are going to miss the show because the Sabres game is on. Unfortunately, right now, they are down 2-0. The second quarter just started, so go Sabres. Hopefully they can make a comeback here. But right now they are trailing 2-0 to the Canadiens. So let's see what if the Sabres can pull it out. All right, let's get to some of your guys' chat real quick. Weston in the building. Believe in Bean Island, of course. I didn't have a chance to check out a Post Podium podcast today. I had a lot going on. I'll get into that shortly, but man, guys, I have a lot going on in life right now. But today was one of those days. See here, Trek Reviewer. Do you think with the Bills trying out two long snappers, Mason Arnold from Florida State and Mark Langston, Indiana, they may cut or trade Reed Ferguson? I don't think so, man. Reed's been here so long. And the dude is, one of the best in the league. And it's a risky play there to cut a long snapper. It's believe it or not, it's an important position, right? So no, I don't think so, but it is interesting why they would try out a few long snappers. I don't know. It is interesting. But we'll find out. I don't think that would be the smartest play for the Buffalo Bills, but maybe there's something to it. Maybe Reed Ferguson is, I don't know. Maybe he's thinking about retiring. Who knows? I have no idea. That's interesting. That's something to definitely keep an eye out on. Right. Bean McMaster, Bean Baby. That's right. And that was me. Let's see here. Ronnie in the house. Yeah. What's going on, Ronnie? Ronnie always saying awesome. That's right. And Weston back to the Bean Island. That's right. Let's go Sabres, says Eric. Yeah. Well, hopefully the Sabres can figure this out because right now it's still down 2-0. So at home, by the way. So they got to figure it out. And by the way, I'm not a hockey fan. I don't know much about hockey, but of course I'll be rooting for the Sabres. In this playoff. So good luck, man. Hopefully they can pull this out. They've been playing really, really good. So good evening, Tommy. What's going on, Robert? How you doing, brother? And Sandra in the house. What up, Tommy? To the top, right? To the highest degree, to the TOP from the 313. And I think I butchered my beginning. of my intro. So it is what it is. I've had a long day. Anyways, what's up, Tommy to the top? You're late. Were you taking everyone happy Mother's Day to the mothers, caregivers, etc.? That's right. It is Mother's Day weekend, correct? Like my mom passed away, a year ago or so. So, yeah, it is what it is. So it's going to be one of those funky weekends for me. But I had a day today, guys. I had a day today. So, y'all know Princess, my baby girl, my puppy. Now, though she's not a puppy, though I call her my puppy. 6 years old. I adopted her when she was 7 months old, after my other dog passed away after 18 years. And you know, I always believed in adopting. I think that's the right thing to do. So couple months, later, 2-3 months later, I went and adopted Princess. I saw her posted online on Facebook, went and saw her, and she was so sweet, adorable. And she didn't, to be honest with you guys, she didn't seem to have any issues. But I will say this, when you adopt an animal, they're majority of the time, they're going to bring something with them, right? Like they're going to have some type of background you don't know about, right? Because, you weren't there in the beginning. So, she was great. But the thing is, she has her tendency. She has her ways about her, right? That, if I had her as a puppy, that, these problems wouldn't exist today. And one of those problems are getting her nails cut. And it's a fucking mission. And her nails, for some reason, grow very fast, like super fast. And, when I first got her, she wasn't too bad at getting her nails cut. I would take her to a groomer. But then she got worse, right? And very aggressive, right? And just aggressive and moving around and just not staying still. And so I wound up having to take her to an animal hospital. Because I was like, damn, like these people don't want to touch her no more. I'm afraid that she'll bite somebody. So took her to an animal hospital, like, I don't know, a couple years back or whatever. And it was another mission. And she just was refusing. Like, they could not, do it. And they're like, look, we're going to have to sedate her. And by the way, not to mention this, another issue is she hates car rides. Only dog I ever had that hates car rides. And I mean, crying the whole way there, pacing back and forth in the back seat, just like hates car rides. And that could be something because maybe, when she got scooped up by, when she was on the street or maybe her previous owners dropped her off and she has bad memories from that. I don't know, but she cries the whole time. I mean, like cries. And, anyways, when I got there, I didn't realize that she snagged her nail in the car. So dogs have that like thumbnail that's up above on their front paw or their front leg, and she broke it. So of course, it was like a double whammy. So now I got to get surgery, right? Right. I was going there to get her nails cut, and now I wound up having to get surgery, right? So they couldn't do anything. And then they found out her nails broke. So like, hey, look, we're going to have to sedate her. And I'm like, okay. So like, all right, we're going to have to put a muzzle on. Bro, like the muzzle was a mission, guys. She would not let them put it on. And I'm like, let me try. And she bit me, right? Like trying to put the muzzle. Finally, we got it on. Then they could not put the needle to sedate her. She was moving around. She was going like wild. And finally they did it. Finally, they got the nails done. They did the surgery. I brung her home. So then months have passed or whatever. I found this place up the street that said, yeah, we've dealt with dogs like that. We'll try. I'm like, okay. So take it to this groomer. And bro, I'm in my car for like hours. It felt like hours. And finally I go in and the lady comes out. She has like blood on her, like she had like a whatever thing on, like a I don't know, whatever. And she's like, oh, she bled out her nose. She had a nosebleed. And I'm like, I never knew dogs had nosebleeds. I never knew that thing was possible. Didn't know, dogs can have them. And I'm like, okay. It's like, oh, it was, it's from stress. Some dogs will have nosebleeds from stress. I'm like, they're like, look, we did the best we could. We got them. We got the ones that were curling. We cut them, as best as we can, but, try to do this at home, like with the, with a toothbrush, like one of those motorized, like go by her nails and see if, she gets more relaxed with that, like gets used to it, but not happening. So today I took her back to the same place and I called up and I said, look, I'm going to bring her and I'm going to bring some cheese slices because she's hooked on cheese slices and maybe I could distract her while you're trying to cut her nails. So took her there. They put her in a harness this time. So up in the air. And at first two cuts were fine in the back foot. And then she just went bananas again. Didn't matter about the cheese slices no more. And then boom, blood everywhere. She just started gushing blood out of her nose again. And the lady, she just like, all right, we got to stop. Like I can't, we can't do it. So all that, right, for 2 nails in the back foot, not even the nails that I needed to get cut the most, which are the front claws that are curling again. But I don't blame them. I mean, like, they don't want a dog, I don't know what that could lead to. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're scared of something bad happening to her. But man, when I talk about like blood gushing, I'm serious, guys. So, the last time this happened and I brung her home the first time, she bled out her nose the next day. And I thought initially, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this is weird. Did they pop her in the nose? They were mad at her, hit her in the nose to behave or something like, but no, so I'm glad that I know that they didn't hit her or anything, but they said that's probably something that I'm going to have to ask the vet why she's bleeding out the nose like that. Cause it shouldn't be like that much and that quick. Right. So guys, it's like a fucking mission, man. So I'm going to have to take her to a vet. And of course, that's going to be around $250, $300 to sedate her. I'm going to have to get her shots updated, all, rabies, all that fucking shit, man, for nails to be cut. It's wild, man. And you got to remember, guys, she's 6 years old. As they get older, it's not good having to sedate your dog every single time, when they get older, right? It's just not good. So, problems with that. And then of course, guys, I told you guys, like, I think last week, my landlord, I've been here since 2017, has decided to sell the home. He did sell the home, made it official, this last weekend. So I got to get out of my house and by September. So that's another mission I'm going through. And then I got her. So for all you fur, you guys that own, have fur babies, finding a place, it's an easy, especially when you have a bigger dog. So I got a lot going on, guys, but I made it. So sorry for that long-winded day, long-winded talk that I had there about today's events that took place. And that's why I'm running late as well, because I had to take a nap and just relax because it's just tiring. It's tiring and a lot of shit going on my end, man. But I'm here. I made it here, and I appreciate you guys listening to me. I had a vent there a little bit and explain my interesting day with my pup. I'm with you, Tommy, and it's okay. My mother passed away 18 years ago. Days like these will never be the same. Yeah. See, me and my mom weren't close, but that's a whole different story. I don't want to go down another rabbit hole, but yeah, I still have love for her. Still, always be your mom. Always be my mom, no matter what. You know what I mean? Like even if we didn't see eye to eye at the end there, but yeah, it's still weird, right? And like, But anyways, let's get to it, man. Let's check on this Sabres game real quick. And the Sabres are down now 3-0. So it's not looking good for the Sabres early on. The good news is Buffalo does lead the series 1-0, right? So if there's any positive to take away, if the Sabres do lose tonight, is that at least they are up 1-0, and now the series is tied. Though they lost home, what would you call it? Home ice advantage now. So they got to get one back in Montreal. But hey, the game's not over. It's 3-0. I've seen crazier shit happen. We'll see what happens with the Sabres. But right now, early on, 3-0, not looking good. So not a lot to talk about tonight. Excuse me. But they are officially doing the demolition of the old stadium, Ralph, the Rich, Highmark, New Era Field. Right? All of the names that came across that stadium. 4 to be exact. 5, because we were once Buffalo Bill Stadium. If you guys remember, for 1 year, we were Buffalo Bill Stadium. And I remember fans wanted it to keep that way, Buffalo Bill Stadium. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't sound terrible, right? It's not that bad. And I think after the Buffalo Bill Stadium is when we got New Era, I believe. I could be wrong on that. It could have been the opposite way. It could have been New Era than Buffalo Bill Stadium. Can you guys let me know in the chat how that went? I think it was Buffalo Bill Stadium first, and then New Era, and then Highmark, I believe. Anyways, I'll be honest with you. The Highmark name, listen, at the end of the day, all these stadiums are all called, for the most part, it's a company name at this point, right? AT&T Stadium, right? Reliance Stadium, this stadium, that stadium, like, it's all some type of name, sponsored, stadium name. But in a way, I wish we had the old New Era, because we're going into a new era. All right. This would have been a perfect time to have New Era sponsor the Buffalo Bills Stadium, right? And have New Era Field. Like, that would have been ideal. Perfect. Right. But it is what it is. Highmark is the name. Highmark is the stadium, and that's fine. We are going into a new era. But yeah, the demolition has begun in the old stadium. And I know a lot of people have memories there, especially people that live in Buffalo. I'm not from Buffalo. I've been there. I went there in 2018 for Josh's rookie year against the Lions. I have some family in Rochester, but I don't really know them that well. So, I haven't been there, you know what I mean? Much. I think I went as a kid, but don't recall too much. But like I said, Buffalo, I did go one time to the game. And yeah, I had a blast, man. Had a good time. But watching all the games, right? Watching all the games since 1989, pretty much, right? Been a fan since 89. There's a lot of great memories, a lot of great things that happen in that stadium, right? A lot, so much. And there's a lot of heartbreak. There's heartbreak as well in that stadium. But, look, tonight we're going to go over some of the most memorable moments in the Ralph, the Rich. I'm going to call it that. I'm not going to call it New Era, or Highmark, because most Bills fans still to this day know it as the Ralph or the Rich. So we'll keep it like that. So let's see here. Just want to make sure that I'm still good. I didn't lose connection here, because, man, you guys got mighty quiet. And I think you guys might be mighty quiet because the Sabres are getting their ass kicked right now. And you're like, Tommy, look, man, we really don't want to. We're not in the fucking mood right now to hear your bullshit about your dog when our Sabres are losing 3-0. But look, man, this is why it's a 7-game series, right? So it shit happens. If you guys lose this game tonight, dust it off, dust your hockey, your hockey gear off and go back at it for game 3 and steal one or get one back on the road, because that's what you're going to have to do. Let's see here. Mr. Fulton, the most interesting man in the chat. Tommy, I have a big announcement. I have an audition for the national anthem at the Summer Games in Terry Hall, Indiana. I will be hearing back from them soon. I will let you know if I hear anything. Well, good luck to you, brother. I wish you the best. I hope things work out. Spin, relax. Sabres are only down a field goal. Easy. Yeah. Unfortunately, a field goal, one field goal made in hockey, it's not the same in hockey, but I get your point. Hey, look, anything can happen. They can turn around. Look, they're still in the third. I mean, they're still in the second. There's 7 minutes to go. If you could get at least a goal here, golly, you want to get at least a goal here and go down, go in the last quarter there, down 2, you never know what happens there. So, but going, down 3-0 going into the third is probably not a good situation there. Maybe most interesting man, AG tryouts will pay on that. Yeah. Spin, he is in a lot of stuff. That's why he's the most interesting man in the chat. He does a lot of events and singing competitions. So we always wish Mr. Fulton the absolute best with all that he does, because he does a lot. He does way more than me. What do I do, right? I sit here and I talk about the Buffalo Bills, and I talk about my baby princess and taking her to get her nails cut. I mean, it's not. I don't have a lot going on. I'm definitely not the most interesting man. So, Anyways, so let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. And tonight, we do, obviously have a couple stuff. Besides going over from the past, memorable moments of the Ralph and the Rich. I do want to talk about the Buffalo Bills schedule. SI did a article creating an ideal schedule for the 2026 Buffalo Bills, so we'll go over that. I haven't read that yet, so we'll go over that together. The NFL released the top 10 games of 2026, so let's see how many games the Buffalo Bills are in, if they're in the top 10 at all. We also got, what is the Bills' 2026 strength of schedule based on projected wins? So that one's interesting. Another SI article, 4 position groups Bills improved through the draft, including the most important spot on offense. So we'll see what happens on that article there. Let's see here. So yeah, the Sabres are still down 3-0. Oh, and then one more article. Bills still face 4 pivotal questions after going full force on defense in the draft. So we're going to be going through all that tonight. My computer has been, by the way, I don't know what the hell's going on with my computer. I told you guys, I got a lot going on. Yeah, my dog, my house. I got to get the hell out of my house. My computer's acting up. It's a brand new computer, pretty much. I mean, I got a lot going on, guys. I mean, geez, just take me already. Take me. Golly. Ideal schedule. Bills on the road the first 9 games. Can you imagine that? Right? Oh, my God. All right, let's get to it. No, I do that on my phone. No. No, I don't know what it is. It's I don't know. I bought it from Amazon. So I don't know. It's a gaming computer that really doesn't act like a gaming computer. And all I do is podcasting on it. That's all honest to God, it's all I do, or look up Buffalo Bills information. So I have no idea why it's acting up, but it is acting up. Anyways, let's get to it. And Spin, thank you for joining me tonight. Once again, man, this is off-season talk, man. There's not a lot going on, and I don't want to rinse and repeat every goddamn show and just sit here and complain about, make it a complaint show or do these podcast where we're just talking about the same thing we talked about last week about the draft again. Like, I can't do that. I want to try to make it somewhat an interesting podcast without having to do the rinse and repeat. Let me just figure something out to talk about, even though we're talking about the same shit we talked about last week. So anyways, all right. So let's pop this up. So I asked AI, and of course I remember some of this. I didn't look through all of it. But these are the most memorable Buffalo Bills games at Highmark Stadium, but they need to scratch that and put the Ralph the Rich. So guys, let's be real here. I wish I could tell, Chat GBT, it's fucking Ralph or the Rich. All right. It's not goddamn Highmark. All right. We don't refer to it as goddamn Highmark Stadium. Anyways, let's dive into this. And if you guys have a specific game that you want to, put in the comment section, go ahead and put that in the comment section that you remember, or a game that even, you were at that you were, something happened or whatever. Let me know. Put it in the comment section. If you're watching this after the live, leave a comment. Let me know. I always respond. All right. So here we go. Number 1, the comeback. Bills versus Oilers, 1993 AFC wild card. The Bills went ahead and won that game 41-38 in overtime. The greatest comeback in NFL history. Down 35-3. God dang. And I remember because I was sitting on the couch and I got lucky because I live in South Florida. And to be honest with you, which is crazy, I didn't know that until recently when somebody said it because we were talking about this not too long ago. Somebody said it in the comments section in the chat that people in Buffalo didn't get to see this game because it was blacked out. I didn't know that. Honest to God, I did not know that because I was living in South Florida at the time, and it wasn't, a blackout is just usually, it's not in every state, right? So it doesn't affect people elsewhere. So I got to watch that game. So I was like, what are you talking about? Because the guy was like, how'd you see the game when it was blacked out? And I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I watched the game. So come to find out, it was blacked out in Buffalo, but other states, got to see it. So South Florida was one of them. And it was a wild game. Definitely a wild game. Definitely a wild moment in that game. Let me see if I can hold on real quick, guys. There we go. All right, that's good. Okay, so down 35-3 in the third quarter without Jim Kelly, too. And that's even crazier, too. We have Frank Reich as a quarterback, and I like Frank Reich. Right? Frank Reich was an excellent backup quarterback, but, man, that's, in the playoffs, you have your backup quarterback, and you're not playing good to start the game. You're down 35-3 in the third. Yeah, things weren't going great, right? And I fans are leaving. Right, fans are getting the hell out of the stadium, right? Saying this is it, it's over with, right? The Bills are done, right? Like there goes our Super Bowl run, right? And Frank Reich and Andre Reed and Thurman Thomas said, hold on, just wait 1 second there, right? We got something to say about that. So. The stadium went from funeral silence to complete chaos in one afternoon. Why it matters, largest comeback in NFL playoff history. Cemented Bills Mafia lore forever. One of the greatest games in NFL history. There's a few photos from the game. And yeah, it was just wild. It was a wild game, a game I'll never forget. Finally a game that went Buffalo's way. Right, because we haven't had many games go our way, right? We've been on the bad side of things, right? Usually we're on the other side. We don't have the greatest luck when it comes to things going our way in Buffalo, right? So here was something that finally went our way. the Buffalo Bills made a comeback, and it was an unbelievable one. All right, number 2, Bills versus Patriots, the perfect game. 2022 wild card final. Bills 47-17 over the Patriots. And of course I remember this game. This was the game where Jordan Poyer was hyping up the defense, and it was an unbelievable game. It was really where, the Bills, the Bills did their job, right? Like on all phases, right? Both sides of the ball. Josh Allen and the Bills offense scored a touchdown on every offensive possession. No punts, no turnovers, no field goals against Belichick and the New England Patriots. Why it matters? One of the greatest offensive performances ever. Bills Mafia dominated the freezing playoff atmosphere, symbolized Buffalo finally flipping the rivalry. And there's, here's this guy with his shirt off. He's pointing. He's going bananas. It's snowing that day. It definitely was, the end of New England for the moment. New England obviously said, hold on. Right? Not for long, folks. And New England is back, obviously, in the mix of things. As we all know, they just went to the Super Bowl. So that didn't last very long. But we'll see what happens this year, right? We'll see what happens this year with that head, that one-on-one Bills Patriots series. So next up, we got the Snow Bowl, Bills versus Colts 2017. The Bills win 13-7 in overtime, and I remember this game, Shady McCoy game. What an ending that it was! I could not believe it. I was here watching that game. It was just like you could barely see the screen, like you could barely see the football field, and it was a fucking blizzard out there. There was so much snow in that game. It made it, it made it an epic game, right? And obviously that was the same year we broke the drought, right? But I don't think fans that year were expecting that. First year head coach Sean McDermott, things weren't going like particularly awesome in 2017. We weren't a horrible team, but we're still kind of not, we're still struggling. Put it that way, right? We had Tyrod Taylor starting, and then he got yanked for, Peterman, right? And then Peterman was so damn awful, he got yanked for Tyrod Taylor, which I don't know what the hell Sean McDermott was thinking there. That Peterman would somehow be, was he thinking he was going to be our future potentially? That we had something there in Peterman? Well, he was dead wrong. Peterman was that bad. Went back to Tyrod Taylor, and you guys know the rest of that story. The Bills make the playoffs that season. But let's get to that game. Pure Buffalo football. A lake effect snowstorm buried the field, creating one of the most visually insane NFL games ever played. Shady McCoy scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime through blizzard condition. Why it matters. Peak Bills weather identity. One of the NFL's most iconic snow games. Fans never left despite whiteout conditions. And there it is. I mean, look at that. The amount of snow on the field that day was wild. I remember, when we were throwing the ball. Didn't our third string come in at one point? But I just remember the ball would just hit the ground and just on an incomplete pass, it would just drop. It wouldn't go anywhere. Or on punts, it would just stay on the ground. It would not roll. It would just plop. What an epic game as far as visual, and the snow. Just to watch that game was wild. Nate Peterman is the preseason GOAT. He is. He's great in preseason, right? The dude looks phenomenal in preseason, but he is terrible in the regular season when it counts the most. Let's see here. Sabres are still down 3-0 with a minute left to go in the second. I told you guys, I felt like they needed at least one goal here to go into the third. You know, if you're down 2, I mean, I can see a little rally going on there, you know, but giving up those 3 goals early on, that's tough to come back from. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the Sabres tonight. It probably won't win this game. But the good news is they did win game 1. So, you know, now you got to go to Montreal and you got to get one back, right? You got to get one back. And I think they will. They're a good team, right? So, man, my computer is just crazy tonight, bro. If I'm freezing, let me know, because I have no idea if I'm freezing or not on your guys' end. All right, number 4, Bills versus Ravens, 2022 home opener comeback. Bills 23-20 over the Ravens. Buffalo came back from 20-3 down in brutal weather behind Josh Allen's leadership and clutch defense. Wow, clutch defense. What the hell is going on? That's a rarity, clutch defense. Like that is super rare when you're throwing that word around when it comes to Sean McDermott and his defense. So Sabres look unorganized and indecisive tonight. And No Bones score. He put it in big, bold letters. He wants the Sabres to score. As do most Buffalo Sabres fans right now. Band spin, says Weston. Wow. No Bones finally got one in. Oh, you're saying, oh, hold on. The Sabres did score. All right. So it's 3-1 right now. There's still 20 seconds to go in the second. But this is kind of what I was saying, right? To start this quarter, you want at least to score. You want to at least get one in, right? Going into the third down 2, you know, obviously 3. So it gives you, you know, gives the Sabres some type of, you know, hope there, you know, or a more realistic chance of making a comeback here, maybe tying it up and going to overtime. But we'll find out. So it's not over, right? It's not over. 2 goals is definitely possible. Obviously the Sabres had a better second as far as defense, right? They didn't give up any goals there, right? I believe they gave up all 3 in the first. So we'll see what happens here in the third, but they got to keep that going. They got to keep that. And hopefully maybe for them that this goal right here gives them some type of momentum heading into the third. My fans are growing. I got Trek and now Weston. Yeah. Yes, Ben. Weston wants you banned, man. All right. Let's get to the next game. Number 5, Bills versus Dolphins. If you guys remember these games, hit me up in the comment section or in the chat. Bills versus Dolphins, 2023 wild card. Bills won 34-31. One of the wildest playoff atmospheres in Orchard Park. Fans throwing snow in the air after touchdowns became iconic visuals during the game. Why it matters. Bills Mafia weather madness on full display. Intense AFC East rivalry. Cemented the snow globe playoff reputation. Is this the game? I'm pretty sure it is, where the Dolphins had their third string playing, right? Or their backup playing? Didn't they have their backup playing who's not even? I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. If he is, I don't think he's on the Dolphins. I believe the Dolphins wound up cutting him. But they should have never been in that game. Never. And the fact that they made it a game, right? The fact that it came down to 3 point, we won only by 3, to a game in a game where the Bills should have blown out the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins had no business, making that a game. Absolutely none. I don't care if it's a rivalry or not. They had, I thought it was their third string quarterback. It could have been their backup, but either way, no business being in that game. And the Buffalo Bills defense, once again, this is why I talk about, when we talk about, what the issue was here of us not reaching a Super Bowl. I mean, right here is a prime example, but nobody wants to talk about that, right? Or you know, some people do, like myself, but a lot of people want to ignore the facts. And the facts is the Buffalo Bills defense just was not very good. And it wasn't, it did not show up in the playoffs for the most part. Now, there was a few games they did. I'll give them that, but you can't have close games like this. You can't be having down to the wire games against a Dolphins team that you should have blown out. Right? I mean, well, how is the defense giving up 31 points to the backup quarterback in the Miami Dolphins? A guy that's I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. It was just unacceptable, but that was kind of the norm, right, in the McDermott era. Like, we be prepared for the Buffalo Bills defense to give up 33 points a game. Pretty much, right? Be prepared, because we're going to need a shootout. We're going to need to go bananas on offense in order to win a game. No mistakes allowed on offense. Defense, you can give up 33 points. No problem. McDermott's fine with that. But yeah, just wow. So that's why when I but when I talk to fans that are just, they want to not, come to terms that McDermott and his defense was one of the main reasons why this Buffalo Bills team did not reach a Super Bowl in that 9-year span under McDermott. I mean, right here, right here's a prime example. You know what I mean? We should have wiped the floor with them. And it's, by the way, at home. It's not even like we were in Miami. What was our excuse? We're at home. It's snowing, right? All the advantages are, they have a backup quarterback, or I think a third string in there. And they still make it a close game. But yet certain fans want to ignore that. They want to ignore the past, right? They want to ignore, McDermott and his shitty defense, right? And what he threw out there in the playoffs, right? It's wild to me. The fact that we had a defensive coach and the defense was always the Achilles heels is a joke. Yeah, no bones. I'm with you. 100%. This is why, and I don't want to, I had the Go Bills podcast was in here on Monday, and he got a little offended with Mikey, and clearly, and by the way, he's a good guy. I know the guy. But clearly he is on the side of Sean McDermott. He is defending him all the way through. He's defending the defense all the way through. And of course, Mikey and myself, we're not, look, man, it's okay. You can have an opinion. Nobody's saying that you can't, right? And in fact, we wouldn't put your comment on up on screen if we didn't respect your opinion or acknowledge it, right? So, but yeah, we just don't see it. Clearly, we don't see it the same way that some people do when it comes to Sean McDermott and his defense. But the reality is the reality. And the reality is games like this kind of prove our point when it comes down to what was the real issue here under McDermott this whole time. And, I wanted to make a point too, or I thought I made a point on the Arthur Moats. I was on Arthur Moats recently. I did a video with Arthur Moats and Aramis on Arthur Moats' channel. And I think I made a point there where I was like, I don't believe the roster was ever the real issue of the Buffalo Bills not making a Super Bowl. So a lot of fans, want to go and find other reasons why the Buffalo Bills didn't make it to Super Bowl under McDermott, right? It's like they want to fish for something else. It can't just be about it. It has to be roster related. And I don't believe that. I believe we had the roster to win a Super Bowl in that 9-year run, or at least gone to one. And I've asked the question to many Bills fans: should the Bills have made at least one Super Bowl appearance in this 9-year span under McDermott? And nobody really can say, right? Or nobody's really, answered the question. For me, yeah, the answer is yes. The Buffalo Bills should have made at least one Super Bowl appearance and possibly won a Super Bowl. And I don't believe it was because of the roster. I don't believe the roster is what set this team back. The roster was good enough to make it to 2 AFC championship games. And really what let us down is the defense in both those AFC championship games. And then when you talk about the division games that we lost, for the most part, it was the defense that let us down. Like, it was time and time. Now, there were some games that the offense, that it was a complete team loss, right? Like, I think the Bengals 2022 Bengals game was a complete team loss. It was a team loss, right? The offense struggled, the defense struggled. I'm not going to put it on one side of the ball. I thought the 2020 AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, I thought that was a team loss. I just, the Chiefs, at that time, and what's funny about that game, guys? Like, I don't know about you guys, but when going into that game, of course I was excited, right? And we all know that was a COVID year, right? Remember, no fans, right? Like, they were just starting to let fans back in. You guys remember that? For the playoffs, some stadiums were letting a full attendance, some stadiums weren't. But either way, it was one of those weird years. But that's where the Buffalo Bills started to like emerge, and Josh Allen started to, that's where Josh Allen really just came out of nowhere. Remember that? Because the first 2 seasons, Josh Allen was still trying to find his ways as a quarterback. And we made it to the AFC Championship game, and the Chiefs, they took care of business. And I wasn't even mad about that game because for me, I felt like, wow, like, look what we've done in the course of with Josh Allen in the course of, now 3 years, right? Like, 2018, okay, we're building around him. I didn't expect much. 2019, boom, we made the playoffs. We lose a close game against the Texans in the playoffs. And then very next season, we're already in the AFC Championship game. It just seemed to be heading in the right direction, right? So I wasn't even that upset that we lost in 2020 against the Chiefs in that game, because I said, you know what? The Chiefs have been there, done that. We're a team that's kind of like finding our identity. We're still, the coach is still young. Josh Allen's still young. Like, we're still building this thing. And that's why I was so confident heading into 2021, because of the jump that we made, right? From, 2018 to that point. And then the 2021 is the 13-second game. And it was really where I knew where the problem was. And I knew that if they kept him around, Sean McDermott, that this was going to be a very tough thing to do, which is to win a Super Bowl under that coach, because he showed me everything right there, that he just was not a guy fit for those situations, right? High pressure situations. He just wasn't. And his defense wasn't. And really, truly, honestly, when you look back, and I said this multiple times, that 2020 game is where you started to see the cracks in that defense, in McDermott's defense. I thought Kansas City really exposed Sean McDermott's defense. They did a great job exposing it, finding its weaknesses, and just exposed it overall. I didn't think much of it because our offense didn't do great that game. So I just thought, hey, team loss, which it was. But now looking back, is really where it all started, is where that defense started to show, its cracks, right? And in 2021, it was no longer showing its cracks. It totally fell apart. And I never had faith after that season in the defense. It was all about optimism. And you can have that because you have Josh Allen, right there in the middle, right? Josh Allen, our boy. When you have an elite quarterback, you're going to always have an opportunity, especially if you make the playoffs, to possibly go to the Super Bowl because you have an elite quarterback. And there's really only, four of them, right? In that tier 1 list, right? Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow. So yeah, if you get to the playoffs and you have that caliber quarterback, there's always, you always are going to be optimistic, right? But that's, I don't want to feel that way. I want to feel confident, right? And I felt confident in 2021. Like, that was the one season going in, I was like, yeah, because of what we did up until that point. But after that, it was just like, how can I? The defense is, if the defense is being rolled out the same, and Sean McDermott is the same coach, right? He's not changing his ways. This is it's never going to change, right? The results are probably going to remain the same. And sure enough, they did. You can't tell me they didn't. But yeah, dude, like looking back at playoffs losses or even playoff wins, like this one against the Dolphins, lighting up 31 points is outrageous, right? Outrageous, especially when you have a defensive-minded head coach who, is this supposed defensive guru, and you're giving up 31 points to a backup quarterback or I think a third string. But certain fans, they don't want to see it that way, right? They want to look at the roster. If McDermott only had a star player, come on, man, folks, stop. There's only so much star players you could put on your team, for one. And two, I don't give a fuck about that. The Bills got to that point. The Bills already made their way to an AFC Championship game without having these star players all over the field, right? And ultimately, it wasn't the not having the star players that let us down. It was poor coaching, not trusting your defensive coordinators, taking, the defensive playbook away from Leslie Frazier in that 13-second game, not trusting your defense that you built, that you wanted on the field. I didn't tell you to have Levi Wallace starting in the game. You were the one that made him starting cornerback. I didn't make him the starting quarterback. These are the players that you wanted. These are the locker room fits that you wanted. The culture guys that you wanted. Don't blame that on the guy that brung him in. These are the guys you wanted. You asked for them. And then you started bringing back retreads. Josh Normans, AJ Klein. You wanted it. But certain fans that are on this whole Bean sucks, Bean hates, he fucking blows. Like, guys, he's getting what the coach asked, and he's getting what fits his system. Period. You know what I mean? He's not out there coaching the fucking game. Yes, the Bills should have at least been to one. Yeah. And see, that's a Chiefs fan. He knows. Should have at least gotten to one. It's come on, man. If you gave any of the prominent defensive head coaches Josh Allen and of 30 points per game offense, they would have won multiple. Yeah, no bones. I'm with you. Like, come on, man. Like, another subject that came up during the Arthur Moats podcast that we did was, and I'll debate this with Aramis forever. He believes the way to get to a Super Bowl is you got to just pretty much go all out on offense, and it's an offensive league, and defense really truly doesn't matter in the playoffs. And I just totally disagree. And the only part that I said on the Arthur Moe show, I said, you know what? I'll say this. I agree with that when it came to Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills, right? Because in reality, yeah, you know what? For this team under Sean McDermott, yeah, that probably was the way to go, because the defense was never going to bail out the offense. The defense was never going to, be the answer, right? When we are going into the playoffs, I never, ever heard any fan, I just never heard any fan saying, man, our defense is going to ball out. Our defense is going to show out. Wait till you see what we're going to throw out on the field on Sunday, right? Like, oh, man, that team's in trouble because we're going to do this and that and this defense. Never. It was always about the offense and what the offense is going to do, what Josh Allen's going to do. And you shouldn't feel that way as a fan. You should feel confident in both sides of the ball. If you have a legit Super Bowl contending team, you got to be well-rounded. You just have to be. And so, like I said, the only part I agreed with him on that is, yeah, maybe under the McDermott era, we needed just to load up on offense because the defense just was never going to happen. It was never going to step up. So sure, why not? Yeah, that I'm with you. Load the fuck up on offense. And by the way, I said that in the past because I totally did not trust the defense. I didn't trust the scheme anymore. Fuck that defense. Load up on offense. It's the only chance we got. But that's not how it should go, folks. That's not the reality, right? Because in every team in the NFL would be saying the same thing. Fuck the defense. Let's just load the fuck up on offense. Fuck every draft would be all offense. If that's the key to a Super Bowl, then every team would focus on offense the whole draft. Like there would be no defensive players coming out in the draft. They'd be like, oh fuck, bro, it's all offense in the playoffs. So the defense plays no part. Let's just load up on offense. We'll just get the cheapest free agents available for defense, right? Vet minimum, the whole defense, right? Let's just bring back all like AJ Klein. I know you said you retired. Come on back because you know what? It's an offensive league. Fuck the defense. Just go out there and we need a body out there. Josh Norman, look, bro. We need somebody. Levi Wallace, can you come back? Because we just need bodies on the field. It's an offensive league. We're gonna concentrate only on offense. It's just not reality. It's not reality, folks. You got to have a well-rounded team. If you look back at the history of Super Bowl winners, there's been a very few NFL teams that actually won the Super Bowl without being good on the other side of the ball. It's super rare. It's super rare. Doesn't happen often. And if you look back at this past Super Bowl, it kind of proves my point. You got two defensive teams that are, in New England and Seattle, both, very good defensive teams. And Seattle had a very good offense. And what happens? Now, New England's offense was, shaky the whole playoffs. Their defense kind of carried them a little bit, right? But in the Super Bowl, what do we got there? We got a back and forth field goals, right? 3-3, 6-3. It wasn't, it was waiting for an offense to get going. And look what Seattle does. Seattle holds it down until the offense of Seattle got going, finally put a touchdown, right? 7 points on the board. And it was a wrap from there. But they held it down. They did their job. They said, we got you. We never had that. How many times have the offense always had the defense's back for the most part when it comes to the Buffalo Bills? Always. Every single playoffs, pretty much. I can only name one game, and I've talked about this. Only one game where the offense was like just not having a good game, and that was the Baltimore Ravens game, the Teron Johnson pick six. Outside of that, I can't name a game where the offense just totally shit the bed. And the defense was like, I got your back. We're going to win this game. We're going to hold it down until you get going. Like, no. No, one game. One game, guys. And that's that. Come on. One game. Like we're gonna high five McDermott in this 9-year span here on one game. I guess we can count the 2017 game against the Jags, but we still lost that game where the defense did everything they could. So I guess we'll say two. We'll say the Jaguars playoff game in 2017. I thought they did a phenomenal job. And we'll say the Ravens game, the Baltimore Ravens playoff win. That's it. Out of 9 years. That's it. It's the only time the defense ever truly stepped up and said, I got you. So, yeah. But once again, I think some people just have it in their mind to be so set on that the reason for the failures is because of the roster and Brandon Beane not getting superstars here. Like, it's simply not the case. I don't see it that way. Because if our roster was that bad, if it was that poor, there's no way you make it to 2 AFC championship games. You just don't. You're probably out in the wild card, right? For the most part. You know what, guys? We've never lost the wild card except for the Texans game. Outside of that, we've been to divisional games and AFC championship games. So if the roster was that poor, they would have never gotten that far. Like, you have to have a good enough roster to make it to that point, right? And don't give me the whole Josh Allen is the only reason. Like, if that was the case, I just named a whole bunch of elite quarterbacks. The only one there that actually did something is Mahomes. But Jackson's elite, and he's losing to us constantly in the playoffs. He's losing to the Chiefs. Joe Burrow doesn't even make the playoffs often, right? And Lamar Jackson, matter of fact, didn't even make the playoffs last year, right? So if it's all about one guy and he's elite, and that can automatically gets you a ticket into the playoffs, well, what the hell's going on? Well, then what's going on with the Ravens? If that automatically punches your ticket into the playoffs, why didn't the Ravens make the playoffs last year? You get what I'm saying? Why is Cincinnati always struggling to start the season? And don't give me injuries, because they always start the season bad. Always. They don't get going until the second half of the season. And they have elite offensive weapons. Elite. They got probably one of the best, if not the best receiver in the game. He's up there. And they got an elite quarterback in Joe Burrow. And then they got one of the best, wide receiver number 2s in the game. And they had Hendrickson on the other side of the ball, who's a star player. And they still missed the playoffs. So it's not guaranteed because you have an elite quarterback that, for sure, Josh Allen automatically is the reason why this team gets to the playoff. I don't buy that. According to McDermott, 13 seconds was too much time. Yeah, it's too much time, man. It was too much time for a bend, don't break defense. Yeah, exactly. Asking a Chiefs fan about what the Bills should do is like asking a Fox if you should lock your house. He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy. He's been a friend of the channel for a while, and he also keeps it real. He knows that the Bills have been, right there with the Chiefs, right? Like, we've given them the toughest battles, right? And obviously what it came down to was coaching, in my opinion. Like, it wasn't about rosters. For me, it was about coaching. And if you look at both sides of the field in those crunch time and in those big moments, you had a coach, an Andy Reid, who was calm, cool, and collective. Been there, done that. Doesn't matter if we're down. We're going to be okay. And you got McDermott on the other side of the field, who's pacing, who's, you could tell, nervous, who is calling unnecessary timeouts, who is just getting it tight, right? And blowing it. Let's be real, right? Just melting away. And you can't have that. You got to have a true leader on the side, like an Andy Reid, who's been there, done that, calm, cool, collective, trust his coaching staff, trust his players, right? Trust the play calls that are going. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like McDermott never was like that. Never. He didn't trust the coaching staff. He didn't trust the players, right? He didn't want to make mistakes. Like, he was always worried about making a mistake, right? That's why the bend, don't break defense was always a thing. Didn't want to make the big, God forbid if we let up a big play because we were actually being aggressive. Can't have that. ultimately that was his failure as a coach. If they hold Kelsey in the 13-second game and they get a penalty but waste enough time to win it, no bones, that's the same shit he did in the Broncos game before halftime and Josh fumble. Yeah, ridiculous, by the way. Bad call by McDermott. I get Allen needs to be better needs to be better in that situation, but why even call that play there? It makes no sense. With a quarterback like Josh, if we had actually legitimate weapons, he should be able to win a Super Bowl with an average defense. An average defense. Our defense was never average in the playoffs. That's the problem. Like, with this defense now that we got, right? Even if they give up 27.5 points per game, which is a lot, but let's say they do in the playoffs, we'll win the game. We'll go to the Super Bowl. Right? Because I'm confident enough in our offense that we're going to score 30 plus. Usually we do. Like, we don't have a problem putting points on the board. It's our defense that this offense is constantly having to, make up for, right? We go up, 30 to 20, 24, and here we go. The defense letting up another touchdown. Now we got to go back out. Right? We just never could rely on the defense. 30 was never good enough, right? It was just never good enough, and that's wild to me, right? That the offense is doing, all they can for a defense that is not helping them out at all. Tage Thompson just juked himself into a turnover breakaway score for Montreal. Oh, man. Let me update that. So, man, my computer. What is going on here, guys? Montreal's up 4-1. So, not looking good, folks. I'm sure I'm going to get some more people tuning into the podcast as the Sabres continue to give up some goals here, and it's not looking good. It's 4-1 with 13 minutes to go in the game. Like I said, man, this quarter here, they needed to keep up the defense and keep Montreal from scoring here if they wanted any chance of making a comeback, and clearly that's not going to happen probably. So let's get back to it. Let's get back to this, and because we went a little off track there, but it was good. It was good going off track because I did want to talk about, this game here kind of proves my point when we talk about the defense. Anyways, moving forward. Number 6, Bills versus Raiders, final regular season game of 1988. Bills won 17-10. The game clinched Buffalo's first AFC East title in years and helped launch the late 80s, early 90s dynasty era. Why it matters. Beginning of the Super Bowl era for the Bills. Emotional turning point for the franchise. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We were the bickering Bills prior. I believe a season prior. We had a lot of stuff going on in Buffalo. A lot of complaining going on in that locker room. And that's why they call them the bickering Bills. And they finally figured shit out. Started coming together as a team. And it was a start. It was a start of something special. It's just too bad that, the Bills couldn't get at least one Super Bowl in that time span, man, and those 4 Super Bowl appearances. Next up's number 7, Bills versus Jets. Farewell field to the old house. So last game of the season, as Buffalo prepares to move into the new stadium era, recent late season home games against divisional rivals have carried emotional last days at the old stadium energy. Classic red helmets, snow, and emotional Bills Mafia moments have turned these games into nostalgia events for long-time fans. And yeah, that was an awesome game. I know it was a pointless game against the Jets, and but we brung back the old school red helmets, which they should bring back for good. We took care of business against an AFC East rival, shitty Jets team, but it was a good way to close out the season, to finish, or close out the regular season, last game ever at the Ralph the Rich, with a win And yeah, I mean, they played a nice video there at the end there that some Bills players, stayed and watched. But once again, a lot of good stuff that happened there, a lot of shitty stuff. But that's why we're going through tonight. Number 8, Monday Night Football. Oh my God, I remember this game, and we lost this game. Bills versus Cowboys, 2007. Cowboys win 25-24, and it was for an onside kick, by the way, if you guys remember this game. The Bills defense did a great job, 5 turnovers on Tony Romo, and the Bills gave it away. Painful but unforgettable. But Buffalo intercepted Tony Romo 5 times and still lost in dramatic fashion after a chaotic final sequence. Why it matters? One of the most emotionally intense primetime games in stadium history. National audience heartbreak game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that matters, but yeah, it was like, that's a Buffalo Bills thing right there. like right there. Like that is a Buffalo Bills type of ending, right? Like, of course. It's like the whole 13-second thing. Like, of course it happened. If something bad's gonna happen, it's gonna happen to the Buffalo Bills, right? Like, it's so rare that we're on the other side of things, right? So this is one of those games where it just wasn't gonna happen for us. Bills versus Broncos coming at number 9, AFC Championship game, 1991. Bills win 10-7. Well, what do you know? The defense. We have a defense here, huh? Right. Buffalo advanced to the Super Bowl and freezing conditions behind dominant defense and clutch plays. Why it matters. One of the biggest wins in franchise history, cemented the Bills' dynasty run. Number 10, Bills versus Chiefs, regular season thriller, 2021. Bills win 38-20. After the heartbreaking 13 seconds playoff loss later that season, this regular season matchup felt like Buffalo announcing itself as a heavyweight. Why it matters, electric primetime atmosphere, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes became the NFL marquee rivalry. And it does, and it still is. Let's be real. When it comes down to, games that people really want to watch, right? Like, dude, the Bills and Chiefs games are epic. They're always epic. Regular season, playoff, it don't matter. Like, 2 heavyweights going at it. It's going to go to, the 12th round. Right, like there's usually no knockout, right? It may, at least until the end, right? The final seconds, the Chiefs wind up getting a late knockout, I guess. But it's always a battle. It's always a back and forth when it comes to the Bills and Chiefs games. I would say the Ravens games are like that as well. It's always a battle with them, and the only difference is we come out on top against the Ravens. And the Chiefs always come out on top versus us. So we own the Ravens and the Chiefs own us, right? Like, until we can figure that out. Honorable mentions. Bills versus Vikings, Justin Jefferson catch game 2022. Of course, we remember that. It was epic catch by Justin Jefferson. And we lose that game, of course. Bills versus Bengals, emotional return game after DeMar recovery, and of course we lose that game. That's the playoff game. That's not good, but yeah, I get it. Bills versus Patriots, win game revenge. Final games at the Ralph. Kelly versus Marino, classic in the 90s. Yep. All right, so here's some more. Top 10 loudest moments at a Highmark Stadium. All right, let's get to that. And my computer is frozen. Give me 1 minute. Okay, there we go. Man, my computer, man, it's wow tonight. Anyways, Teron Johnson, pick 6 versus the Ravens in 2021. Now, remember, I mentioned this earlier, right? This is one of very few games. Actually, the only one that I can recall. Well, I'll take that back. I thought the And I'm back. I did tell y'all that that I was having some issues with the computer here, and who knows if there's going to be more. I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you guys. If it continues to be an issue, I'm just going to have to cut the podcast tonight a little short and figure out what the hell is going on with the with the computer here, because yeah, I have no idea. It's one of those guys. I'm going through a lot of shit right now. If it's not one thing, it's another, right? Like my dog, my living situation. Now my computer's crashing. Like, I can't catch a break. Don't look like the Sabres are gonna get this one. I hope some of you guys come back. I'm sorry that this is going on with the computer, but yeah, no, the Sabres are not going to win this one. Sabres are down 4-1 with 4 minutes to go in the game, and that is looking like it's a wrap. Spin? No, it's my end. It was definitely my end. How long will it take Tommy to read the chat and realize he is frozen? Not long. I knew I was frozen the moment the computer locked up on me. So it is what it is, folks. This is technology for you. And look, it's funny because my computer has this light. And when it's a solid red light is when I know shit's not going well. It's like it's thinking, it's doing something, right? But it's not good. It usually means like the computer is starting to like freeze or whatever. So right now I'm on a solid red light. I'm looking at it, right? And once that goes away, I know I'm good to go. But I knew there was an issue because I kept going back and forth with the Chat GPT on the other screen because I'm doing a screen share. And every time I would go to it, my computer, the Windows kind of would freeze up for a second. And then it would be good to go. So, but yeah, this past time it was not good to go. So, and it said, nah, bro, that's a wrap, Jack. But we're going to continue on with this, man. If it does crash again, guys, I'm just going to call it a podcast for the night, and we will, we will do this another day if that happens. All right, so we were on the top 10 loudest moments in the Ralph the Rich, according to Chat GPT. Now, if you guys want to put a moment that you guys remember, at the Ralph the Rich, go ahead and put it in the chat box, and I'll go ahead and I'll put that on the screen. But anyways, we already talked about the Teron Johnson pick six, and as I was explaining before, it was the only game I remember the Buffalo Bills defense actually doing anything in the playoffs when the Bills offense really needed their help, like truly needed their help. It was that game. Sandra, Tommy, just remember, anything made by man is subject to fail. True. Now I'm with you. And I'll be honest with you. I bought this computer off Amazon. It's gaming computer. It wasn't cheap, right? But it was cheap compared to, if I were to go to Best Buy and buy a Razer computer or a Dell or something. This was a off-brand. I've never heard of it in my life. Gaming computer. It still was not, like I said, it cost me, I think I paid $700 for it, $800. And it had really good graphic card and a NVIDIA and i7 and all that stuff, fast processor, but you kind of get what you pay for, right? Like, so I think that's what's happening here with my computer. So hopefully it lasts me a little longer, because I don't have the money right now for a new computer. So please, computer. Anyways, number two. Let's see here. Number two. Bills destroy Patriots. Perfect game. We all remember that. Number 3, the comeback versus the Oilers. And you know what? You know why that's not number 1, probably loudest ever? Because the Bills Mafia left the stadium. There wasn't, it was probably half full at that point, right? So it was loud, but when you only have half the stadium full, probably not the loudest, right? Number 4, Josh Allen hurdles Anthony Barr. That was Josh Allen's rookie year, 2018. Never forget it. It was his first game as a starter because he came in for Peterman against the Chargers. And then he started the next week against Minnesota. And man, was that epic. Like what that was epic, man. Let's see. Bills clinched playoffs versus Ravens, 2017. Let's see here. Snow touchdown versus the Bills. That was unbelievable. That was unbelievable. We talked about that game earlier. J-Ham, I don't know if you watched PPP, but Aramis thinks it's, if the defense doesn't do well this year, the fan base will push to fire Jim Leonard. I don't agree, but what do you think? No way. No way, bro. Totally disagree on that. Now, I didn't get the chance to watch because I had a lot going on today. But there's no way. You unless it totally shits the bed and it's worse than what we've seen from Sean McDermott's defense, there is no way they would move on from Jim Leonard that quickly. I don't even think they would move on from our head coach if he loses a divisional game in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're going to give them, at least two to 3 years, right? But there's no way. No, I don't agree with that at all. And I don't think, there's no, first of all, I just don't see it being any worse than what it was with McDermott. You know what I mean? I just don't. So I don't think Bills fans would at all would be screaming for Jim Leonard to be fired. Yeah, if anything, I think Bills fans would probably be more screaming towards firing Joe Brady. That I could see, because, and I'll tell you why, because I don't think many of us, including myself, were sold on the fact of Joe Brady being the head coach to begin with. The only reason I came around to Joe Brady being the head coach is because of the coaching staff that he built around him, right? Because of Jim Leonard, right? And the rest of the young coaching staff that are all, innovated guys coming from college, guys that are, that a lot of people see having a bright future in the NFL as defensive coordinators in the future or potential head coaches in the future. So that got me excited as far as, okay, I wasn't thrilled about the Joe Brady hire, but he's surrounding himself with a lot of really good, talented coaches. And then they brought in also Carmichael and John Fox, who, not a lot of people talk about, and some people think, oh, who gives a fuck, right? What did John Fox ever do, right? Old ass John Fox. Well, let me tell you something, folks. John Fox did more than Sean McDermott ever did. You want to talk, you want to be real here, right? And when fans are like, oh, what did John Fox ever do? First of all, yeah, John Fox may have not won a Super Bowl, but did you see what he did for the franchises that he went to? The teams that he did make it to Super Bowls with? Did you see how shitty they were? So if you want to clap your hands and support a Sean McDermott, right, for breaking the drought, and he's the reason why this Bills team was good, and we should praise Sean McDermott for getting us out of the drought. Did you see what John Fox did with Denver? Did you see what John Fox did in Carolina? Did you see how shitty those two teams were prior to John Fox being the NFL head coach there, or their head coach? And the fact that he got them to at least the Super Bowl. Sean McDermott never got the Buffalo Bills to the Super Bowl. right? But you got people out there hating on John Fox. Who cares about John Fox? John Fox loser, didn't even win a Super Bowl. Oh, well, you're praising Sean McDermott. You're fucking clapping for him. Sean McDermott couldn't even get us to a Super Bowl. This guy turned around 2 franchises in a period of 2 years and got him to a Super Bowl. Come on. So, of course, I want that guy on the coaching staff. A guy that knows at least how to get there. Because you got to remember, we got a very young coaching staff, right? For as much as I like Jim Leonard, and I think I think the guy has a lot of potential, and I do, and I think this defense is going to be, honestly, night and day compared to what we've been seeing with McDermott. I'm telling you, folks, night and fucking day. I promise you. If I'm wrong, hey, I'll come on here. I'll eat crow. But you're about to see a totally different, aggressive, fast defense that's going to be throwing different looks out there, confusing the quarterback. Not this bend, don't break, soft zone bullshit that we've been running for the last 9 seasons. You're about to see exciting defense. Are we going to give up some big plays here and there? Sure. But are we going to actually get to the quarterback and make some plays when needed? Yeah, most definitely. Something that we didn't do under McDermott. I'll take that. I'll take a couple big plays here and there against this team. So I do believe in this. But I also believe that you have to have some veteran leadership for these younger coaches. Just like you have to have veteran leadership with the players. You have to have some veteran leadership. You can't throw all rookies out there. Right? And listen, I'm a believer. You got to eventually go young with your team, right? You have to, right? Your player, you can't just roll out aging players a year after year. You have to start eventually going the route through the draft. I agree. And we did, and we're doing that. But you still have to have a couple of those vets in that locker room. And I believe that goes with the coaching staff. Joe Brady, youngest NFL head coach right now. The youngest. He needs some type of guidance. It's okay. So that's why I don't understand when some fans are like, fuck John Fox. Why do we need old guy in the What do you mean? Why do you need a guy that's had that experience? Of course you do. If you think about it, when we had stupid Sean McDermott here, Sean McDermott never wanted to go and get help. He never wanted to bring an outsider in. He never wanted that because his ego. He had a big ego. You think he wanted, an advisor to come, like, an old head, John Fox coming in going, hey, Sean, gotta tell you, man, the defense you've been throwing out there is just really not working, Sean. Bro, Sean McDermott would never go for that. Never. You think he would hire a young DC outside, right? That's going to come in and go, yo, Sean, man, I've been thinking about the defense, and man, you know what would be really good? And Sean go, you know what, man? I didn't hire you. I didn't hire you for that. I already have the scheme. Just need you to call it. Right? Just here's my playbook. Right? It's a good one. It's the Sean McDermott defensive guru playbook. Just call the plays. And when you're not calling the plays good, be prepared. I'm gonna go on and rip that from you. I'm gonna at any time. Like it's mind-boggling. So that's why it was never gonna work. Listen, if Sean McDermott was an old head that been there, done that. For instance, if we had John Fox initially, if the roles were reversed and John Fox was that way and he was our head coach, you know what I would say? That motherfucker he got to 2 Super Bowls. Like, okay. I mean, I get why he has a little bit of an ego, right? Like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, but what does Sean McDermott ever do to have that ego? My defense is the best. I'm not going to listen to anybody. This is the way I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to hire within always because I don't want to hear it. Come on, man. He was basically saying as fans, we don't criticize the front office and the owner enough to make moves that other teams did. See, like, that's, listen, at the end of the day, now, I don't give a fuck, but we could talk about what other teams do and how great, and I brought this up before. What other AFC team outside of the Chiefs are this juggernaut doing things the right way year after year, right? There's a new AFC team reaching the Super Bowl all the time, right? While the Buffalo Bills just can't get it right. Guys, there's only been one Super Bowl winner since Tom Brady in the AFC. That's Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs. So why are we talking about anybody else? Why? Like, the Buffalo Bills are outclassing all these other teams you're talking about, except for the Chiefs. Let's be real. But you can't, I'm not praising anybody else's decisions and their all these perfect drafts and their free agencies are masterclasses. And look at their salary cap and look at all the players that they're bringing on board. Okay, what have they done? What? I'm waiting. What have they done? They have done no more than what we've done. And that's nothing. Let's be real. And I'm not saying the Bills, we should praise the Bills for what they've accomplished, because really, in all honestly, they haven't accomplished anything yet until they win a Super Bowl. But you can't, I'm not going to sit here and praise other teams like they've been doing this unbelievable job. And we're so stupid as Bills fans for accepting what we've been doing. Like, I'm not going to do that. Hey, Cali Bills in the house, man. What's going on, Cali? Long time no talk, man. I hope things are going good for you in Cali. Oh, dude, I got to tell you, man, life's been kicking my ass, Cali. I've had a rough stretch here, brother. Got to move out. my landlord decided to sell the home finally. I've been here since 2017 and got to get out by September. No idea how I'm going to do that. Because if you don't know, now you know rent is not cheap anymore, no matter where you live. And having a bigger dog, makes it really tough to find a place. And then just, dealing with Princess today and trying to get her nails cut. And it's been a disaster, man. I am not, things aren't going great for your boy Tommy over here, but it is what it is. I'm not here to put my troubles on anybody. It just life is kicking my ass, bro, Callie. It's kicking my ass, but you guys make up for it, man. I love coming on here, talking with you guys, about Buffalo Bills and, the good stuff that is, right? That bad stuff, man, it is what it is, man. Try to ignore it for the most part, man. What can I do? Sometimes things are just out of your control, right? And you keep your head up, you hope for the best. And that's all we could do in this world, man. 5-1 is crazy. Oh, they're getting their ass kicked 5-1 now. Oh, they lost 5-1. Okay. So game over. Sabres got their ass kicked. Listen, it's a 7-game series, right? You're going to lose a game. Now, Buffalo needs to go to Montreal and get one back. That's all. Get one back. Get your home ice back. And that's it. And everything will be gravy, right? By the way, my Pistons are looking good. And, boy, I was not feeling good as a Piston fan in that Orlando series. Matter of fact, I was on here live with you guys last Friday. The Pistons were down in that series 3-1. And we were getting our ass whooped on Friday when I went live. We were down 22 points at half. And I said, oh, it's over. It's fucking over. Matter of fact, I didn't even look at the score while I was with you guys for most of the night. Then I go to look down because I'm like, all right, let's go see what, the game has to be over. I go look, and the Pistons wind up winning by like 13 points. And after that, I said, well, they got all the momentum back. They got all the momentum back after that. They're heading to Detroit. Orlando gave them everything they could. Actually, they were down 3-1. They won in Detroit. Orlando still was up 3-2. They could have finished it in Orlando, and then they blew a 24-point lead at one point. And once that happened, I said, well, okay, that's it. Listen, momentum is everything in sports. And they lost it. Orlando lost it in that game. That was a wrap. And Detroit wound up kicking their ass in game 7. And Detroit's played really well since. So defensively is where it's at for Detroit. Unlike our Buffalo Bills. Unlike our Buffalo Bills, the Pistons defense is what's winning these games. They are relentless, man. I mean, Asor Thompson is relentless. Like, guys, I played basketball a long time, and I hated playing against guys like that, who they're not the greatest offensive players. So you don't really have to worry too much about their offense, but their defense is annoying as fuck. Like, you could literally hear them breathing on you, right? Like, they're that up much in your grill, right? And I remember playing against people like that, and I fucking hated it. There used to be a guy, he was actually a friend of mine, when I was growing up playing basketball, and I was kind of just starting to find my ways as a player. And I would play street ball, man, every day, right? So the fucking lights went out, right? We would jump the fence even after the lights went out just to play, to finish the game, like if they kicked us out of the park. But anyways, this guy, Mike, he was actually a friend of mine. He wasn't the greatest offensive player, but his defense was annoying. Like, I literally could hear him breathing on me. Like, it was just really annoying, right? But it made me a better player. It made me a much better player as I got older and found my ways in basketball. And then later on in life, I wound up talking to him again and brought him out to the court. And he was still good defense, but my offensive game was on another level. And it was just different, at that time. He could not guard me because obviously I got a lot better. But yeah, there's players like that are just really, that's what they focus on. And Asor Thompson's one of them. He had that with Leslie Frazier and got rid of yeah, exactly. He actually took away the play calling from him in the 13-second game. If you didn't know, now you know. I'm so glad we got rid of McDermott. Callie, me too. And a lot of people should be, and a lot of people aren't, which I'm very shocked, very surprised that you got people out there still upset that we fired Sean McDermott. I don't understand it. I don't get why you would want to continue on after 9 years with a guy that just couldn't get the job done. It's mind-boggling. He did nothing to earn another year. Nothing. If he got to a Super Bowl, then maybe we can have that talk. But he didn't even get to one. 9 years with one of the best, if not the best quarterbacks in the NFL, with a roster that, I'm sorry, should have made it to a Super Bowl. You can't tell me this roster is garbage. You can't. It's the ultimate team sport. They would never get to an AFC championship game if their roster was garbage. Just wouldn't happen. They will be a wild card team that was dumped out of the wild card every year, pretty much, if that was the case. If all they relied on was Josh Allen. It's just that's not how football works, guys. Just giving you the gist, by the way, not trying to start any beef. No. Postponing, those are my dogs. Like, I normally watch their podcast, but today was a rough day for me, man. Today was a rough day, and with the whole princess thing and taking her to get her nails cut and her nose bleeding everywhere. It was a rough day, and I needed to take a nap. Couldn't watch her show. I probably watched I'll go back and watch the replay. Try living in California. Shit is insane out here. Gas is hovering $7. Damn, dude. Yeah, I know, Callie. Like I said, I'm not trying to. I know other people got problems. You know what I mean? I'm not alone in this world. I'm dealing with a lot is all. You know what I mean? And it's when you're dealing with a lot and you're by yourself, it's tough. You know what I mean? Like, it makes things, but it makes you stronger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it. And by the way, I've been on my own for quite some time, so it's nothing that I'm not, used to or. Or I'm just, I can't find my way. Like, I always figure something out. So, been on my own since I was 17, lived in the streets a little bit, not long, but lived on the streets a little bit, in my car. And, I found my way, man. I bullshit jobs along the way. to get by, but I've always found my way. I always found my way. I'm 48 years old, man. So, I got a little bit to go, but hopefully not too much more to go. Yeah, I really, guys, I got to start another channel. Because, that's based on life, right? Just based on life and the bullshit and just to have those conversations would be good with people. And, because, this is a sports channel. This is us talking, Buffalo Bills, but I know some of you guys are cool and you guys enjoy that conversation sometimes, but some of you guys are like, hey, I could give a fuck about what you're dealing with. Let's talk some Buffalo Bills. So I don't like to, I get that. I don't like to drag on my personal life with anybody, but maybe one day in the future, I get a different kind of podcast where I chop it up about, life. All right. Life. Good old life. Anyways, let's continue this with the loudest. Stevie Johnson, overtime winner versus the Bengals. One of the loudest regular season finishes in the drought era. I agree. I remember that game. AFC Championship versus the Broncos. The old stadium shook as Buffalo punched in their Super Bowl ticket. I remember that. Bills beat Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, coming in number 9. Josh Allen out-dueling Mahomes, felt like Buffalo finally arriving. And number 10, Damar Hamlin returned tribute night. And I believe that was the kick return, right? That we had for a touchdown, the opening kick return, if I'm not mistaken. That was an awesome game. Bills Mafia showed out, and that was a wild event. That was like a wild time with that whole Damar thing. Obviously, it's over with now. It's been years since that took place, but like I said, man, it's the honest thing with Buffalo, man. We have the oddest, like we just have some fucked up shit happening always. Like things always go weird with the Buffalo Bills or bad. Like luckily though, I will say it went bad, but then it turned out good, right? Like that's a hell of a story. You know what I mean? I know we're over it, and a lot of people are just kind of tired of the Damar thing and don't even really want him on the team and all that. But when you think about it, guys, that's wild. Like, the fact that he came out of that and he's playing football is wild. The dude, let's be real. A lot of times when you're when you're not breathing like that and you have no, no blood's going to your brain or whatever, you're not like, you're out like that. You usually you go like brain dead or whatever, right? Like you lose function or whatever in the brain or whatever. Like, the fact that he didn't and recovered that well is wild to me. So that's why I it was a big moment. It was a big moment, and I feel for the guy. It's kind of like the Kevin Everett situation for us. Kevin Everett paralyzed, and he wound up walking again. And he had like a 5 to 10% chance of ever walking again, which is wild. The fact that the dude's walking today. It's unbelievable. Like, so, there is some good, even though we had some bad moments here that occurred, like, Kevin Everett, Damar Hamlin, it wound up being good at the end. Like shit worked. Like it wound up being like unbelievable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so pretty cool with that. But anyways, but Aramis is basically saying he wants us to go all in on offense, which I kind of disagree with. Cause even if it's down to one play, the defense has gotten exposed, before. You know why he's saying that though? And this is the only thing I would debate him on. We have a new defensive coaching staff here. We have a new defensive scheme, right? A new defensive coordinator with a whole new defensive coaching staff in a totally different scheme. And I get why he's stuck on this, J-Ham. It's because he's thinking of it like McDermott's still here and it's still the same defense. And I just don't have faith in the defense. And I was the same way. if you guys watch my channel, I was saying it for years. Fuck the defense. Just load up on offense because I don't trust the defense. I don't even want to talk about the sorry ass defense. And it wasn't so much the roster for me. Like I said, I never really said, oh man, like the fucking roster blows. The defense, these guys suck. Well, like it was always for me about the defensive scheme. It just doesn't work. It's failing. It's broken. And until that changes, it doesn't matter who you bring here. It doesn't matter. Nothing is going to change as long as Sean McDermott's calling the defense, or if that's his playbook. And yeah, so in that sense, I agree with him. Fuck that, load up on offense because that's what it's about. But if you have a defense in place, which we're hoping for and we're thinking we're going to get, which I believe we will with Jim Leonard, then yeah, that thinking for me is not there anymore. Now I go, okay, because I'm going to tell you this, and I believe this. If this defense is what I believe it will be, which is a good defense, Aramis is going to change that thinking during the course of a season at some point, right? Because he's going to look at the defense. He's going to see that the defense is getting to the quarterback. The defense is aggressive. The defense is making plays. That's going to build confidence in him, knowing, okay, wait a minute, hold on. We got something brewing here, right? We're heading into the playoffs with the defense that has a 10-sack guy or has a lot of takeaways or whatever, or is allowing, they're a top 5 ranked defense or top 10 ranked defense. There's going to be more confidence in him heading into the playoffs that, okay, yeah, I think we got something here. I think I can actually rely or depend on my defense stepping up when needed. The thing is, when you're used to something not happening, when you're used to bad, then you're just it's kind of stuck in your head. And I think that's where he's at. He may not say that. He may not admit that. But I think that's where he's at, where it's like, I still don't trust the defense. I still don't like the players. And it's going to be the same old thing. Just load up on offense because that's the only way to win. And that's a bad way for me of going by it. You just can't, because once again, if that's the way to win, right? Like load up on offense and then every team's draft would be offensive players the whole draft and just signing UDFAs and veteran defensive players, because who gives a fuck at that point? Just load up on offense. And that's just not the way it goes. I mean, if you look at the Super Bowl, go back, look at the Super Bowl winners. Their defense stepped up. Like you have to be well-rounded. Seattle's, like I said, great example. What star players they have all around? Come on, stop. You know what I mean? Like, bro, the MVP in that game was the running back, who's not better than James Cook. He's not a superstar player. He had a good game, but I would take James Cook over him. I would take Josh Allen over Sam Darnold. It's no knock on Darnold, but they had a well-rounded team. They had a defense that could actually be counted on, that could to go, hey, you know what? Hey, the offense isn't going that great, but we got your back. We're gonna slow this game down for you guys till you figure it out. That's great. That's what I want to feel as a fan going into the playoffs, going, you know what? If Josh Allen and this offense has a rough start, or they have some turnovers that were just unlucky turnovers, right? A tip ball led to an interception, whatever. I know my defense is going to step up. I have faith because I've seen it. Well, you know what? Under McDermott, I didn't. I saw it one fucking time in the playoffs against the Ravens. Outside of that, nothing. They never gave us anything. And I don't blame the players. I blame the coach. I blame the scheme. And we're about to find out. Like I keep telling people, and that goes for him as well, because I feel like he's still on that, this is the past still. Like he doesn't, and I kind of understand in a way, because truthfully, we haven't seen the defense yet. We haven't seen them take the field. We don't know truly what they'll be like, what they'll look like, right? This is still a we're waiting, right? Like wait and see type of thing. But I could tell you this. I knew what I saw from McDermott's defense. I knew it. So like with this defense, yeah, I may not know yet, but at least I know it's going to be different, right? Which is exciting enough, which still makes me, okay, a little bit more optimistic that the defense is going to be different and maybe possibly better, because how worse can it get? How worse can it get? No, you're good, man. I have terrible grammar, so you're all good. Defense wins championship. Look at the last. Yeah, spin. Exactly. Like, I don't know if they totally went, but I get your point. I get your point. And if you look at, like I said, go back and look at the Super Bowl games. Defense, it matters. Of course it does. Of course it does. It plays a big part of getting to Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl. It's very rare that you have these unbelievable high-scoring, games where both defenses are just getting lit up. You know what I mean? Like, usually there's a team that's in there that's a little bit more well-rounded. Their defense is just a little bit better, and that's why they win. Now, it could go by the way, it could go the other way as well. Look at the Texans. It's a great example. The Texans had an elite defense last year, right? We all know it. We saw it. But what was holding them back? Their offense. All season, let's be real. The defense was holding them in their games pretty much all year, giving their offense an opportunity. The offense woke up at time, and got them into the playoffs, pretty much. Let's be real. So it wasn't like Houston had this dominating record, right? They kind of snuck into the playoffs. But everybody saw them as, man, that is an elite defense. Watch out. But what did most people say, right, about that Texans team? You know what? If you have a good offense, I think that's a team I want to play in the playoffs, because their offense is so bad that they're not going to put up a lot of points. So, if you get going a little bit on offense, you'll beat that game. You'll beat the Texans. What happened in that Patriots game is a prime example. Prime example. Even the LA game, even against the Chargers, even though the Texans won, it was their defense. Right? And the defense got touchdowns, ultimately won them that game. But the Patriot game's a great example. The Patriots were terrible on offense. Really all playoffs, but they were terrible in that game. But who was even worse? The fucking Texans. They had zero help. You gotta be somewhat well-rounded. You can't just be great on one side of the ball and be poor on the other. It's super rare that a team can win a Super Bowl like that. So, and the Texans, right, once again, prime example last year. You got to have some type. You got to be good on both sides of the ball, and you don't need to be great, but you got to be good on both sides of the ball to even have a chance. And the Bills' defense has not been good. Let's be real; it just was not. Maybe good for a couple years, 2017 through 2020, I guess. Right? Okay, I'll give it that. But then it started cracking, and then it was a wrap. Right? I could never count on that defense after 2021. It was over. Come on, everybody knew that. And if you didn't know that, then you were lying to yourself. Outside Philly KC game, even then it was, yeah, exactly. Guys, go look. So that's why I'm not a believer in the whole, it's an offensive league and you got to, offense is what's going to ultimately win you a championship, and you got to load up on offense, because if that was the case, bro, then why didn't the Rams win the Super Bowl last year? The Rams, for me, had a better offense than Seattle. Did they not? Did they not? Right? Are you telling me that the Patriots were the best offensive team going into the playoffs? Is that what you're telling me? Because they weren't. So, but What happened? How'd they get to the Super Bowl? How'd the Patriots get to the Super Bowl? Let me think. Oh, that's right. Their defense. Oh, that's right. Did you watch the playoffs? Did you watch Drake May? He was terrible. He was god-awful. So, once again, how did the Patriots get Super Bowl? Because their defense stepped up. Their defense did their job where they didn't need much from the Patriots in order to make it to Super Bowl. So you have to have that. You have to have both sides of the ball doing their job. At some point, you need to count on somebody. And the Bills ultimately never really truly had that. You know, and I don't blame it on the roster. I blame it on the coach. I blame it on the scheme. And once again, I'm telling you guys, we will find out shortly because this scheme is totally different. And we have the same roster for the most part. We're adding a few, obviously, rookies, some free agents. But, I mean, if you look at the defense, a lot of the starters are guys that were already on the team. So we're about to find out, right? Was this a scheme McDermott issue? Or was this a roster problem? I believe it was a scheme coaching issue. I agree, Spin, especially with the last few Super Bowls. Defense has been dominant in the final game. And Aramis thinks we should just sell out and go. Yeah, it's not the way to do it. It's just not. I agree with Aramis if we still had Sean McDermott as head coach. Like, I would totally agree with him. I would be like, yep, Aramis, 1,000%. Because I was saying this before Aramis. Guys, trust me. Go back and look. I have receipts. Okay? And Spin knows this, right? Spin's been watching me long enough. I was saying fuck the defense for like the last 2 years. I remember telling Mikey when we would go live, I don't even want to talk about the defense. I don't trust the defense. Fuck them. Go out and get yourself a receiver. Go out and get yourself multiple receivers. Load the fuck up on offense because that's what it's going to take in order for the Bills to win a Super Bowl, to even get to a Super Bowl. So I was with that, but that's not the right way of doing it. But that's the way we had to do it under McDermott. Well, guess what, folks? McDermott is no longer here. That defense, that scheme is gone. It's out the fucking window. By the way, they could have went out and got a defensive coordinator that was a 4-3, same type of defense. You don't want to change. Let's not put it this way. If Brandon Beane was so dumb, right, such a bad GM, like everybody think, right, oh, and it's going to be the same old Buffalo Bill and Brandon Beane, like you look at them drafting the same players and we don't want a nose tackle and it's going to be the same. Guys, if that was the case, when he hired Joe Brady, he would have told Joe Brady, I don't want to change shit up on defense. Let's hire a guy that's running a similar defense as McDermott, a 4-3 type defense. This way, you know, all the players that drafted are familiar with the 4-3, right? We can bring back Trey White and bring back, you know, all of our former, you know, free agent Buffalo Bills defensive player. He didn't do that. We went way different on defense. We switched it totally up. Anybody ever think about that? No, they don't want to mention that. Nobody wants to mention that. But that's the reality of it. It's one of the first things they did, big changes they did after firing McDermott was, we got to fix this defense. What was happening before can't happen again. Right? Because I'm sure Bean's going, bro, I think Groot's good. I think Ed Oliver's good. I think Christian Member good. I like these. I like Cole Bishop. I like these players. I think we can win with these players. It's a scheme. We got to get a younger, innovative defensive coordinator in here that knows what the fuck he's doing. It can actually make these players even better. And that's exactly what he did. But people don't want to see that. Oh, Brandon Beane, boo. Oh, no, well, he didn't get nose tackle. Oh, he sucks. He's same old. It's not the same old. It's not, guys. It's not. And that's why I sit here, I defend them, and I try to make fans at least understand where I'm coming from. Now, if they want to feel how they want to feel, and y'all want to fan how you want to fan, I'm okay with it. I get it. Like, everyone's going to have their opinion, but I'm just expressing mine, and I'm trying to make you understand the way my thinking process is of this whole situation that we've been through over the last 9 seasons with Sean McDermott. I don't want to get too behind on the chat, so because this is interesting, and let me remove this. We'll get back to the Bill Stadium because we're rolling now. We're rolling. You got Tommy going now. Could easily get worse. I don't think so. I mean, listen, I understand what you're saying. Look, I get it in a way, but no, I don't see it getting worse. Allowing 33 points a game in the playoffs, or damn near close to it, 32 and a half or whatever it was. Could it get worse? I guess, but I just don't believe that. I don't believe that's the case. But once again, time will tell. Like, I haven't seen the product on the field. I haven't seen the finished product on the field, right? And that's what really, truthfully, matters. That's the only thing that matters. I can sit here and I can tell you everything's looking great, and just like training camp. When we sit here and we do these training camp, when camp kicks in and we're talking about players that are like, Keon Coleman's lighting it up in camp and he's looking great, and from all the reports are saying he's catching everything on the field, but I always said, well, okay, it sounds great, but now you got to show me when it counts, right? Because I'm not there. That means nothing to me, right? You got to prove it. So I get it. I understand where you're coming from with that. So, but I just don't believe that will be the case. I really don't. I think this defense was actually held back due to scheme. So much, and I'm so confident in that, because when you got coaches and you got former players coming out and saying, they didn't show anything different. Like, their defense was exactly what we saw on tape. They didn't change anything up. They didn't show anything, no exotic looks. When you got Jerry Hughes, former player that played under Sean McDermott, going, yeah, that defense is trash. Like, I played for McDermott. Like, is that what you see is what you get. Like, and he's just, that defense is never going to get better with that scheme. Like, that's a former player talking about how bad the defense was. Like, so yeah, I mean, like, once again, I just feel like he's stuck in, because in his mind, it's what he's used to seeing over the last 9 years, right? Pretty much. And I think once he sees the product on the field, and if everything goes as planned, which I'm hoping, and I think it will, I think he will change his view on that, right? I think he'll get a little bit more excited about what the defense can actually do, especially when we head into the playoffs. Because let's be real, even in the regular season, it wasn't like this defense was lights out electric. They were slightly better, but it still wasn't, I was looking forward to our defense, week to week. I never thought that. It was never a topic of mine. I think what Aramis wants to see is 2018 Chiefs, 2007 Patriots, who lost in the Super Bowl. He thinks because we have Josh, we should sell out on offense, which can be a fair opinion, but they don't need, but that's a bad way of looking at it. Once again, that's basically saying I give up totally. I just totally give up with the defense. You know what I mean? Like, and I can't do that. Like, that's not how football works. You have to be well-rounded. And once you say that, and by the way, can you imagine if Brandon Beane went up to the podium, right, and said, look, guys, the defense sucks. And, I'm just not going to do anything about the defense. I know you guys want our defense to get better, but, the only way to win is to load up on offense. I'm just going to load up on bro, people would lose their fucking mind. Right? People would lose their fucking mind we would go into the season giving up 35 points a game. Right? And look, you don't think that the Bills eventually will run into a defense like the Texans at some point that's going to control their offense and just totally get stuck, right? Or a team like the Patriots. I mean, think about last year. We got stuck against the Falcons. We got stuck against the Patriots. We got stuck against the Texans, right? By the way, all those teams that I just mentioned, their offenses weren't great. We lost to every single one of them. We lost to every single one of them. So how'd that work out? It didn't work out. No, it's just a bad way of going about it. You can't do that. If this was under McDermott, I would be totally sold on his idea. Load up on offense, fuck the defense. It's never going to change. I'm with that. I would agree with him, but this is not, we don't have McDermott here anymore. Right. And he has to, I think Aramis and whoever thinks like that has to understand that, right? And go, okay, this is a new era in a way. We have a new head coach. We have a new defensive coordinator. And we have, most importantly, a new defensive scheme. Right? So any of the old thinking that I once had about this defense and about our coach, it is no longer there. I have to erase that out of my memory, right? That is in the past, right? You got to let that go. You got to give these guys an opportunity to prove themselves. And I feel like right now, him and maybe some other people are kind of just stuck in this, it's not going to change. We're still going to be bad on defense. Nothing's going to change, right? It doesn't matter about the coaching. It doesn't matter about the defensive coordinator. It doesn't matter about the scheme. Like we're never going to be good on defense. So just load up on offense. And that's just not the right way of going by it, right? You got to let these guys do their job. You just have to. So that's how I think about it. You guys can think how you want, but that's my opinion. Let's see, Carl in the house. Hey, Tommy, what makes you the most excited about the Bills this year? For me, I wanted to see Josh connecting with Skyler Bell. Do you see Bell being a 1? Interesting. So Skyler Bell, UConn, getting a little Aramis doesn't like that he came from a small school. He didn't have a lot of competition. Feels like their competition wasn't the greatest. When you usually would play for a bigger school like Ohio State, Alabama, you're playing against better competition. I get that, right? What can you do against better teams, right? I get that argument. I understand that, but there's been plenty of players in the NFL that have been great that came from small schools. So it's not always the case, and it's not always a fair thing to say. For me, I watched Skyler Bell on film. I actually watched Steve Smith's breakdown as well. I thought he did a phenomenal job. If you haven't watched it, go watch it on YouTube. Just type in Skyler Bell, Steve Smith. It'll pop up. He was actually Steve Smith's favorite receiver coming out of the draft. Skyler Bell is talent. He has talent. He's talented. He has a lot of tools in the shed. He's fast. He runs great routes. He's when he his on-field speed matches exactly what you saw at the combine, right? And a lot of times, it doesn't work that way. And I think this guy could definitely be something special in the NFL. I don't know yet. I got to see him. I got to see him on the field. I got to see what he can, do year one. I think, just like every rookie player, player development is huge. And that's what you got the off season for. That's what you got the one-on-one position with the position coaches, right? With the wide receiver coaches, with your offensive coordinator, right? You work on stuff that, can get you better, playing at a higher level. So that's all stuff that he's going to, as a rookie, he's going to want to, going to have to do, work at his craft. That's all. But I do believe he could be a good receiver in the NFL. How good, I don't know yet, because I got to see him, I got to see what he can do his first year. I don't think he'll be number 2 out the gate. You know what I mean? I see him as probably the number 4 option right now, but that's not to say that he can't move up the depth chart at some point this season, right? Depending on his play. So I think I'm excited for him for sure. But what am I most excited for? I'll be honest with you. the defense. I'm truly excited to see what this new scheme can do and what Jim Leonard can provide as a defensive coordinator for this team, because I truly believe it was a scheme-related issue here why this defense failed. And the fact that we're switching it up, and he's going to throw a lot of different looks at quarterbacks that showing a lot of exotic looks that Sean McDermott never really didn't throw out there, a lot of exotic blitzes. It's not going to just be a 3-4. Like, he's going to mix it up at times. A lot of little motion on defense too. Just players, moving around on defense. Playing different spots on the line. I'm excited for it. We didn't get to see that. We never saw that. So I would say the defense, man, because I trust the offense. I really do. What I'll say this about the offense. The only thing I didn't like over the last 2 years was we didn't have a go-to guy, which was a number one, right? When we lost that when Stephon Diggs left. And I felt like McDermott thought he could get by without having that guy. And it showed that we couldn't. You have to have that guy. You have to have a guy you can count on, right? Josh needs that go-to guy. I like our receivers. I like Khalil Shakir. I think he's a damn good receiver. Yards after catch, he's a solid receiver. But he's not a go-to guy, right? Dalton Kincaid, really good tight end when healthy. But is he a go-to guy, right? We haven't had that since Diggs. So the fact that we got DJ Moore, who I think is going to be excellent for this team, is a go-to guy. He is your true number one, and he's going to make everyone around him better. So I believe in this offense, 1,000%. I have this offense is already pretty good without the one. Now we have the one. I don't see a setback. I just don't. Where's the setback? Right? If anything, they took a big step forward, right? So I expect the offense to look even better in 2026. The defense is where I'm going, okay, let's see what you can do, right? You know what I mean? This is a totally different look, a totally different vision, different scheme, different type of players that he's bringing in as far as free agency goes in the draft. Dude, that has to, get you excited. It really does. So that's what got to me. That's what has me excited for 2026. And that's crazy because I never said that about this defense in years past. And that proves my point. What I'm trying to say is I let the past go with when Sean McDermott left. That's out the window. That's gone. You know what I mean? This is a totally different defense, different scheme, new players. I'm excited for it. J-Ham, to be honest, I wouldn't care that much if the defense struggled this year. In my opinion, that there's probably going to be growing pains on both sides of the ball. Hoping for the best. I don't think so. I disagree. I don't think there's going to be growing pains at all for the offense, especially the offense. There's nothing going to change about the offense, J-Ham. You got to remember, it's still Joe Brady, right? It's going to be very, and Carmichael, who've both worked together in New Orleans. They're both on the same page as far as what they want to do. I don't see the offense taking any step back. Like I said before, I think they're going to take a step forward with DJ Moore, with the DJ Moore trade. And then obviously the addition of Skyler Bell and hopefully Keon Coleman get his fucking head right, because I still think he could provide something. But no, I think this, and then you got, James Cook, right, who's on a roll right now, right? I don't see any problems or any issues with the offense. In fact, I see it getting better. Also, too, and I didn't mention this, Sean McDermott doesn't have a leash now on what Joe Brady can do. Because I really do feel like he had kind of a, Brady on a short leash, right? Kind of like what he did. He didn't trust his defense, right? And that's why he played that soft zone, don't want to give up a big play. And I felt like on offense, once Sean McDermott kind of putting his hand in the cookie jar on offense, he didn't want the offense and Josh Allen taking shots downfield. He didn't want, fun ball, right? He wanted to be a run-heavy team, old school football. And I don't necessarily believe Joe Brady is old school football type of coach. He's the youngest NFL head coach, right? He was he had he was part of that LSU offensive staff over there with Burrow and Jefferson and Chase. So he knows what to do on offense, like when you have those type of players and throw the ball downfield, and it's not all about the run game and slowing things down. Like, so I do believe that will help as well. Believe in Bean Island. Damn right, man. You gotta believe in Bean Island. All right. Let's see here. See here. Tommy, with all the doubters will see this season, how much change has happened and the McDermott era is in the rear view. Tommy, all the doubters will see this season. Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's what I mean about, like, people that are kind of still holding on to the past, right? Not letting the past go, as far as, I don't trust the defense. Fuck the defense. We're going to they're always going to be the same, and we have to load up on that. Listen, that ship has sailed, right? Like, it's gone. It's time to give these guys an opportunity with a new scheme and a new defensive staff that can show you what these guys can do. And I'm a believer in these guys. I do trust these guys. I do know, that Ed Oliver could be a very good player in this league. I do know that Greg Rousseau can be a really good player in this league. I do trust in Christian Benford as a top 10 corner. Like, Cole Bishop is one of the better safeties in the NFL. Like, he's getting to that point. Like, we have playmakers. And then we added some. CJ Gardner-Johnson. Everywhere he's gone, he's made a team better. Terrell Bernard, even when Terrell Bernard is healthy, and hopefully, knock on wood, he stays healthy, that's been a good linebacker. So we have guys on this field that could make plays. I just felt like they were putting that scheme was just not a good one. It wasn't, I felt like it was not, it wasn't helping their career. You know what I mean? It wasn't really, they weren't, like, I felt like they weren't playing to their ultimate strengths, if that makes any sense. Right? Like, he just wasn't giving them opportunities to be better. Right? It was a very 4-3. This is what we're running. You see, it is what it is. This is what you get. Right? We're not going to change our ways. You know what I mean? There's not, he just was never going to switch it up, right? And give these guys a different opportunity. It just was never going to happen under McDermott, plain and simple. And with the addition of Leonard, he's going to give these guys different opportunities, different looks, put them in different spots on the field to be successful, right? He's going to give them every opportunity to showcase their abilities. I don't think McDermott ever really truly did that. He didn't showcase any of our players. He really didn't. He thinks the moves we make aren't the same thing done as other teams that got to the big game. But in my opinion, every Super Bowl team is built differently, but not an exact copy. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, and I think me and him are gonna, we'll always have that agree to disagree moment when it comes to certain things, and that's one of them. I just look, man. When he talks about other teams, what other teams? Like, what? I just said it. There's only been one team to win a Super Bowl outside of Kansas City in the AFC, and that's New England Patriots, Tom Brady. So it's not like Baltimore and Cincinnati and, Houston and even New England, who lost the Super Bowl. Like, what are these teams doing that are so successful? And this is the way you got to do it. And this is how you win. This is how you get to this is how you win a Super Bowl. Like, it's like, I would debate that. It's not like What are these teams doing that are so great, and that the Buffalo Bills should look at and go, damn, and we've been doing it all wrong. Look at the Baltimore Ravens. Wow. Like, okay, look at the Baltimore. What am I looking at? A team that missed the playoffs? A team that had 9 Pro Bowlers that didn't even get to the playoffs? Like, what exactly am I looking at? Because they have an elite quarterback. Let's look at Cincinnati. What am I looking at? Well, they have an elite quarterback. Well, they have an elite receiver. They have a number 2 that could be a number 1 on some teams, receiver, and Higgins. They did have Hendrickson, an elite edge. But yet, they struggle every season to begin the season. They have to fight their way to get into the playoffs, and sometimes they don't even make it. So what are these teams that are out there doing these great, phenomenal things? Like, I want to know. They're not. And I'm not saying that the Bills are doing that either. But the Bills have put a team together that has gone to the playoffs 7 straight seasons, has reached the AFC Championship game twice. Okay. Has given the Chiefs the biggest fight out of any team, really. So they couldn't have put together this terrible roster each year and still did what they did, right? If it was such a bad way of doing it, and every team's doing it the right way, because they weren't. The Kansas City Chiefs were the only ones. And why do I think the Kansas City Chiefs were the one team that were getting it done? In my honest opinion, was the coaching. Andy Reid, Spags, they had listen. If you're when we talk about matchups, you have to include coaching. Sean McDermott, Andy Reid, there's no doubt. There's no question. Andy Reid works circles around Sean McDermott. Spags works circles around Sean McDermott because Sean McDermott is the defensive coordinator. Let's be real. I never consider Bobby Babbitt a defensive coordinator. Never. They both work circles around him. We were always outcoached. And you have to have good coaching, because in big moments, and we had plenty of them against the Chiefs, down to the wire games, coaching makes a huge difference. How you prepare for the game, right? During the course of a game, are you adjusting? Are you calling the right timeouts? Are you making the right decisions? Sean McDermott did not. XXXXX. Right? Green for Andy Reid. Calm, cool, and collective. He checked all the boxes. And that's why he's a Super Bowl winning head coach. Outside of that, what has anyone done in the AFC? Nothing. The Buffalo Bills have been there. They've been the one team that has plenty of opportunity. They were knocking on the door, and for me, it was the coach. It was the coach that let us down every single time. I don't blame the roster. I don't. Could the roster be better? Of course. You know what, though? Every fucking team's roster could be better. We could talk about that. Of course, every team's could be. You could improve every roster. There's holes. Every roster, there's a position that needs to be filled that you could be better. Of course. But the reality is, it's tough to have you can't have. There's no team with, all pros in every single position. It's not the reality of it. But listen, man, I think he just needs to see the product. And I think in time, he'll let the pass go. I mean, that's me, but I don't know. Maybe he sticks to it. In my opinion, the game plan will change. I expect a lot more blowout games. I meant there will be game management growing pains. Yes, I agree with that somewhat, but that's why they brung in guys like John Fox and Carmichael. This is going to be a Brady offense, right? But Carmichael's the OC, right? We know. But he's a vet. He's been there, done that. got a Super Bowl ring. That's the kind of guy that's going to talk to Brady and settle him down. And I don't think Brady is the kind of guy, at least I don't think for now, that has that ego tripping where I don't want to listen to you. I'm going to do things the way I want to do things. And I don't give a fuck about, what you've done. I don't think he's that kind of person, right? I think he's going to take what they say, and he's going to listen to that. And he's going to take their advice. And he should. He's a young head coach. There's going to be, like you said, there's going to be some growing pains as a young coach. Same thing with Jim Leonard. That's why you got guys like John Fox for. John Fox, defensive-minded head coach, obviously defensive coordinator in the past. He's going to be able to talk to Jim Leonard, right? And by the way, he's a senior assistant, so he's going to also be able to talk to, he's going to talk to Joe Brady and, hey man, here's where I see this. That's great to have in the building, right? And by the way, John Fox probably going to only be here for 1 year. If you look at his track record, he was with the Lions 1 year. I think he just comes on 1 year with the young coach, kind of, gives his feelings, helps him out through the process, and then moves on, right? So I don't expect John Fox to be here long term, but I like it. You need to have that. So, there'll be some growing pains, but that's what you got those guys in the building for, right? Because you got a lot of young coaches on this team. But anyways, I'm caught up with the chat, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys sticking around too with that little issue I had with the computer there earlier. All right. Most heartbreaking losses out the Ralph. Oh boy, here he. Oh, guys, are you ready to take a trip down memory lane? Most heartbreaking loss. Number 1, Chat GPT says the Chiefs 13-second game. Oh, man. I'll never forget. I went live after that game, and my voice was shot, dude. Emotionally, I was drained, and that was a gut punch. That was a gut punch because, like I said, man, going into that season, I really felt like that was the year. That was the year for the Bills to go to a Super Bowl. I felt like, they were right there in 2020, but still a young team. But I felt like in 2021, they got some more additions on offense. And I just felt like, man, things were going in the right direction. And 13 seconds. 13 seconds. And I put that all on McDermott. I put it all on him. That was an epic failure, epic collapse. Josh Allen did everything he could do in that game, guys, to give this team every opportunity to finally get over that hump, to make it to a Super Bowl. And McDermott let us down. He absolutely blew it. We take the lead. He doesn't communicate well with the special teams coach. They don't know what to do on the kickoff. It's a total fucking shit show, right? And then you play. You know who you're going against. You know Tyreek Hill's on the field. You know Kelsey's there. Why are you giving them that much space? You know they have timeouts. Why are you allowing this? Why are you giving them that much room to get yards? I mean, it was mind-boggling. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And they have a clutch kicker. It's not like they have some bummy kicker either. And guys, he didn't even learn from that game. He did it again and again. He just never learned. And that was a McDermott special, right? And that's why I feel like he's a good regular season coach and a poor playoff coach. Poor. The worst part was that as soon as we lost the overtime coin toss, the game was over. Absolutely. The game was over. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. That it was a wrap. And that was a heartbreaking loss. Like I said, I went live after that game to do the post game, and I was fucking gone, man. I was defeated. I was so that was such a roller coaster of a game. And what a fucking letdown. What a fucking letdown. Anyways, number one was the Chiefs' 13-second game. Number two, Cowboys Monday Night Football collapse 2007. We know about that. They did an onside kick with 20 seconds to go and winds up getting the onside kick and beating us with the field goal at the end to win. A very Buffalo thing to happen. Bills versus Giants Super Bowl. Send off energy. The emotional home playoff build made the eventual loss hurt even more. That was the one Super Bowl, guys, we should have won. Like, we were the better team. Let's be real. Like, when we talk about, just the overall better team matchup for matchup, for me, the Bills were the better team. There was no question about it. And I think we just went into that Super Bowl just a little bit too cocky, bro. A little bit too cocky. There was a lot of rumors that they were out partying all weekend. The players, I think they just thought they had it in the bag, bro. And, the Giants had their backup quarterback in, Hostetler. It's just like everything seemed like it was in the Bills' favor in that Super Bowl. Going the Bills' way. Like, the Bills had it in the bag. And I think the players they took it for granted, man. They really did. Because after that, we played some unbelievable teams in the Super Bowls in Washington and Dallas. And, for as great as we were, those teams were just stacked with talent. And we just could not match. The Giants roster versus our roster, we easily matched. There was no comparison for me. We were a much better team. And it was disappointing. We should have one Super Bowl. We should have at least one. In my opinion, Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow's greatness keeps McDermott job. They were so good, it looked like it wasn't his fault. Terry drew the line second year. Bo Nix, which is fair, not gonna lie. In my opinion, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow's greatness kept McDermott's job. Okay, they were good. It looked like it wasn't their fault. I get what you're saying. Terry drew the line at second year, Bo Nix. I understand what you're trying to say there. Okay. That might have played a part, but in my honest opinion, I think it came down to, why are we having so many of these crazy, wild ending losses? Like, why is my coach always on the losing end? You know what I mean? Like, why hasn't he figured it out yet? You know what I mean? Like, why hasn't he been on the winning side of it? And I think that was it. That was the last straw, right? And I think also too, when they reflected about it and they talked about it before they, I'm sure they had conversation, him and Bean, about firing Sean McDermott. I'm sure that they looked at the defense and understood that Sean McDermott was failing at the one thing that he shouldn't have been failing at. I mean, I try to keep it so brutally honest here. You hire a coach that is known for one thing. I expect that one thing to be very good, right? Like, Joe Brady now is our offensive-minded head coach, right? If our offense struggles, and right, we got a problem, right? Because why is it? It should not struggle, right? Like that's what he's good at. That's what he's known for, right? That's why you hired that particular coach, because he talked to you and said, "Hey, I can get this offense going, I get it rolling, whatever." When you do these interviews, that's what you're asking the guys. You know their history, you know what they've done in the NFL as a coordinator, right? And you're going, okay, I'm going to hire Sean McDermott because he has a defensive background. He was in Philly. He did a good job in Carolina. We can get this defense on track, and be one of the better defenses in the NFL. Of course, guys, you don't think those conversations happen? Of course they do, right? They know when they do these interviews, they ask these guys, what can you do? Like, what are you going to do with this defense? Well, how are you going to make this defense better? So, of course, they look at that. But after 9 years, your defense is still struggling. And you still are having these collapses at these games where your offense is still, even for as poor as it played, gave you 30 points, and that still isn't good enough. You got to go. Right. And I think that also took a part of it. Like that played a big part of why he's no longer the head coach here. And I'm not alone in talking about that, right? About his defensive struggles, about, his coaching meltdowns in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not alone. Now, there are some McDermott fans out there that for some odd reason want him back. It's mind-boggling. Think about a second-year quarterback who wasn't even the best in the class, exposed our defense, for multiple drives against a supposed defensive guru. Honestly embarrassing if you think about it. And J-Ham, were you here when I was talking about the Dolphins playoff game that we barely won, 34-31 against, what was it, Skyler Thompson? Was that his name? I don't even remember his name. That's how shitty he is. I don't even think he's in the league anymore. If he is, he's a fucking third string somewhere. But we barely beat the Dolphins, like, at home. Like, yeah, we won, but barely. Like, you expect your defense to get the job done with at home against, I believe he's a third string quarterback at the time. And we barely beat them. Barely. So that tells you everything you need to know about this defense. It was just not very good with Sean McDermott. And that was against Skyler Thompson. Right? Is that his name? Fuck, man. Let's see here. Jaguars playoff loss, 1996. End of the Jim Kelly era. I remember that. That was it. And that's the reason why we got Rob Johnson. We wound up getting Rob Johnson shortly after because he was on the Jaguars team. We picked him up in, I believe, the next year, right? Or the year after? Might have been the next year. We traded for him. Disaster. That was a total shit show. Vikings Jefferson catch game. That was crazy. Patriots take over years. Yep. Too many heartbreak losses to count. Yep. Broncos divisional round coming at number 7 last year. Fucking bullshit. Music City Miracle emotional fallout. Yep. Of course, that was crazy. I still think that was a forward pass. That was ridiculous. Hail Murray lost to Arizona. There's our wonderful defense. Bengals playoff loss 2023. We all remember that. That was a team loss. I thought the offense played like shit too. Defense didn't do any better. All right. Best snow games in Bills history. Number 1, Bills versus Colts 2017. That was epic. I mean, that was such a cool game to watch. And thank God we won. You know what I mean? Like, on top of it. Bills versus Dolphins wild card game in 2023, which we barely won. Bills versus Patriots snow revenge game. That was good. Bills versus Browns snow game. Classic lake effect chaos. I remember that. Bills versus Jets blizzard. AFC East winter rivalry always delivers. Look at that. I mean, that's wild. Let's see here. Best Josh Allen home games. Perfect game versus the Patriots. We remember that one. Bills versus Chiefs 2021. Remember that game? That was a regular season. Bills versus Rams opening night. Y'all remember that? That was fucking epic. The Rams just won a Super Bowl. They were the Super Bowl defending champions, and we went to their house, and we took care of business. That was awesome. Bills versus Steelers rookie hurdle game. Birth of Superman Josh. Yep. Bills versus Dolphins snow playoff. By the way, I don't know why they have this opening night because that was in LA. And this is about the stadium, so I have no idea why they're counting that game. Bills versus Ravens comeback. That was awesome. Of course, we remember that. Bills versus Broncos shootout. Bills versus Titans revenge game. Bills versus Jets AFC East clincher. Bills versus Patriots win revenge. We remember that. Top Bills Mafia moments at the Ralph. Donation moment for Andy Dalton. Snowball celebrations during playoff games. Table smashing. DeMar Hamlin charity explosion. Fans singing shout. Tailgate culture. Red helmet nostalgia nights. Jim Kelly era unity. Josh Allen MVP chants. See, this is all silly stuff. Farewell emotions for the old stadium. Ranking every great playoff era at the stadium. Tier 1. They got legendary. The comeback versus the Oilers. Patriots perfect game. The Ravens divisional round pick 6 game. That was the only time the defense ever had the offenses back in the playoffs, in my opinion. AFC Championship versus the Broncos. Tier 2 classic. Dolphins snow playoff. Colts snowball. Jaguars wildcard win. Steelers playoff victory. Tier 3 emotional historic. 2017 playoff draw ending. Yep. DeMar Hamlin. Okay. Tribute. Fairway era games with the Ralph. The legacy of the Ralph. Rich Stadium. Ralph Wilson. New era. Highmark. I still wish New Era was the new stadium name. And that's it, folks. That is the end of reminiscing about, the old times here at the Ralph the Rich. Let's see here. Bildo. Yo, they should have mentioned it. I totally forgot about Bildo. That was some funny shit, right? That was very funny. Bills Mafia, man, wild. All right, let's get to some of the little articles that I had planned for you guys today. My computer is starting to act up a little bit again. I don't know what is going on with my computer, but anyways, let's hopefully we can get through this and we can call it a night. All right. So this one here, let's see here. There we go. All right. Creating an ideal schedule for 2026. This is an article by SI. So let's see what their ideal schedule is for the Buffalo Bills. Let me see if I can somewhat make that. Okay. So ideal schedule. All right, here we go. All right, so this is Buffalo. This is the SI ideal schedule for the Buffalo Bills in 2026. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the chat. Let's see here. You and PPP should do a pod every other week or once a month. Yeah, I mean, I would like to do some type of simulcast where we're live on both channels. I got to figure out how that's done. If that's a thing that we can do, I'm not sure. If that's a possibility, I don't know how that would work. But yeah, I'd be down for it. Absolutely. But they are, believe it or not, we agree on a lot of stuff too. You know what I mean? Like we do agree on some things. But then there's obviously, we have this Brandon Bean debate, or this, they are very one-sided. I am, I'm one-sided too. I'll admit it. So, that right there is always going to be that disagreement, right? Anyways, let's get back to it. So here's the ideal schedule according to SI for 2026. They're saying open it up at the Jets. And then we have our first home opener, week 2, versus the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. What do you guys think? Do you guys like that? Would you be cool with that? Our home opener on Sunday Night Football, week 2 versus the Patriots. I think that would be pretty cool. Obviously there's the rivalries back with us and the Patriots. We split the series, last year, and talk about a home opener, prime time at the new stadium going against a rivalry division foe. I think I would be down for that. Now, I would honestly love for them to open up week 1 versus the Patriots. Like, that would be really cool. if they could do that instead of waiting, 1 week. But I don't hate it. Like, what do you guys think? Would you be cool with that? Or would you prefer them just to start off with the bang and give us Sunday Night Football week 1 versus the Patriots, if that was the case? What do you guys think? Let me know. Week 3 at home against Chicago. Week 4 at Minnesota. Week 5 at Denver, Monday Night Football. I mean, once prime time against a team, obviously we lost against in the playoffs. That'd be awesome. Week 6, we're going back home versus the Lions. Week 7 at the Raiders. Week 8, home against the Chargers. Week 9, we're going to LA, Sunday Night Football. I wouldn't hate it. I mean, at prime time, once again, against, two good offenses going head to head, because we could keep up with the Rams. If anything showed you or proved to you, by the way, that this offense can put up points, is the Rams game a couple years back. Remember that when we lost that game in LA? But it was like a shootout. Would they win 42-40? Something like that. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know. Like, our offense, even without Stephon Diggs, it can put up points. Now we got DJ Moore. So when our offense is needed, they step up. You ever notice that? It's not our defense. Our defense is giving up points left and right. Pat's home opener sounds perfect. All right, gotcha. All right, so I wouldn't mind that one there. Then a bye week, week 10. I actually like that bye week, right there, kind of in the middle there. That's not bad. Week 11 at New England, week 12 versus Kansas City at home. Then we're home against Baltimore, Sunday Night Football. But those are back-to-back tough games, right? It is what it is. And we're at Houston. We're home against Miami. Then they got us at Green Bay on Christmas Day on a Friday. Like, I'm good with that. What do you guys think? That would be electric, playing on Christmas. I love Christmas football. So if that was the case, I'd be all down for that. Week 17, back home against the Jets, and then we finish the season out week 18 against Miami on the road. Yeah, dude, I'd be all for that. So what do you guys think of that schedule? Would you, is that a schedule that you guys would be down for? For me, yeah, dude. Like, I would totally be down for that schedule. 100% would be good for that schedule. So let me know in the comments section if that would be, a schedule you would like. Let's see. The schedule is a gauntlet. Listen, we don't have an easy path this year. Obviously, the better you are, the schedule is going to be a little bit tougher. That goes for every team in the NFL. I want the home opener for the stadium to be either Thursday Night Football or prime. Like, I like Fitzcrew on Monday Night Football or ESPN or Monday Night Football on ESPN. Media coverage all day in Buffalo would be cool, especially having McAfee in Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't even mind that Sunday Night Football. I mean, because then trust me, you're leading up to a big primetime game against New England. I mean, that would be epic if they do that. So we'll find out. We'll see when it comes to what they do there. All right, so that's that article. Man, I feel like my computer is starting to glitch again, guys, but it is what it is. All right, we got the NFL released the top 10. I hope I'm still good with you guys. Am I being glitchy on your guys' end? Let me know if I'm freezing or anything like that on your end. If I am. I mean, I got to figure out what's going on with my computer. But anyways, this is the NFL schedule, the top 10 games of 2026. So will the Bills be on the top 10 games of 2026? Let's see. All right, so they have the number one ranking for the top 10 is Rams at Seahawks. Yeah, I mean, they had an epic a playoff game. Those two teams are very evenly matched. It's definitely going to come down to probably the last 5 minutes of the game. So I'm good with that. Also having a week 2 or 3 is better because it brings more focus for Buffalo, or a focus on Buffalo. There's a lot of stuff happening week 1 already. That's a great point. That is, you know what? That's actually a really good point, J-Ham. So you know what? Having it week 2, yeah, you know what? Maybe that is a better thing. I'm good. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. It's just my computer's been running sluggish. I have no idea what's going on. All right, so that they have that ranked number 1. Number 2, look at us, our shitty Buffalo Bills, right? For our shitty, we're not going anywhere, Buffalo Bills, right? But yet we're always here, right? In the top games that people want to watch, right? But yet this roster is no good, and we're not going. Like, this is why I don't believe that. Listen. There's a reason why these betting sites have the Buffalo Bills always in the top 5 Super Bowl favorites. Like and it's not just because of Josh Allen. Like they look at the roster and go, hey, they got some guys, they got some playmakers, they're doing some things. So that's why I just don't believe that. Buffalo's just never doing it right. The roster fucking blows. It's only Josh Allen. I don't buy that. People know this Buffalo Bills team is going to give you everything they got. It's going to be an epic game, a must watch. Even if you're not a Bills fan, fans aren't going to get a dull game when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. You just know it. And that's why right here they got them on the number 2 most anticipated game of the season. Chiefs at Buffalo Bills. All right, number 3, Green Bay at Chicago. Yeah, I'm good with that. Both teams are fighting for the division. They get a classic rivalry. I'm good with that. Number 4, Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Is it really? I mean, Pittsburgh still don't even know what they're doing yet at quarterback. I know it's a rivalry, but right now Pittsburgh has one of the worst quarterback rooms in the NFL. I know they're waiting around for Aaron Rodgers, but even with Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if I would rank that number 4. I'm sorry. Number 5, look at us. Buffalo coming right back in the picture. Buffalo at New England. Yeah, dude, I would say both. New England at Buffalo, Buffalo at New England. I mean, okay. You know what I mean? I would give either one in the top 10. Shit, I might put them both. I might put both games in here, right? Buffalo at New England, New England at Buffalo. I think you should rank them both. That is going to be a showdown. All right, number 6, San Francisco and LA. Okay, I can see that. Number 7, Denver and New England. Yeah, I mean, New England beat them in the playoffs. Okay, all right, I can see that being a game. So number 8, Chiefs at Seahawks. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they'll schedule that where Mahomes is available, right? Because people still don't know if he's going to be back week 1. Yeah, that could be a really good game. Number 9, Baltimore at Cincinnati. You know what? I'm good with that. They're always really good games. So, and that's ranked number 9. And number 10, New England and Seattle. So it's a Super Bowl rematch. I got to be honest with you guys. The Super Bowl is kind of boring. So, I mean, I guess you could put it on here. But if that was one of the more boring Super Bowls I've watched. And I'm not saying that because I was bitter about the Buffalo Bills not making it, but it just wasn't an entertaining football game. So I don't know if I'd put them on this list. To be honest with you, I'd put Buffalo, New England back on this. I think both games are going to be electric. I think both games are going to be better than Patriots and Seahawks, but I guess I understand because there's, both Super Bowl teams going against each other, but is that an exciting must-watch, game? Let's see here. Pitt versus Baltimore is always somehow entertaining for some reason. Yeah, because they have that long history. But the thing with Pittsburgh is I just don't. What are they? Right? What were they? Even last year, they barely got into the playoffs. I think they're one and done, right? They lost in the wild card game, like, and they don't even know what they're doing yet. A quarterback, like, I don't know. What's actually a sleeper is our rematch versus Denver. Yeah, absolutely. That could be on there too. Absolutely. All right, let's get here. I got another one that we're gonna go over tonight. Let's see if I can get to it, which is what is the Bills' 2026 strength of schedule based on projected wins? So let's see where they have strength of schedule as far as the rest of the league and the Buffalo Bills go. All right, so let's go ahead and where's the side by side? Oh, there we go. All right, so here we go. So they have the NFL new strength of schedule for 2026. The 5 easiest schedules, according to Warren Sharp and Sharp Football. The Lions have the easiest. The Saints, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Jets. The hardest schedules is the Rams, the Cowboys, the Panthers, the Dolphins, and the Cardinals. And right here, they got Buffalo as the 14th hardest strength of schedule. Ranked strength of schedule. So, I mean, middle of the pack. So, according to them, it's not, we don't have the toughest schedule according to the strength of schedule. It says Buffalo is projected to return to the top of the AFC East. With Vegas forecasting an average win total of 10.5 victories, New England win total, according to Vegas, is 9.5. While the Jets and Miami have 2 of the lowest win totals at 5.5 and 4.5, respectively. That's, you know what? And that's probably about right. How Buffalo's opponents are determined. Buffalo will place each team in their division. Will place each team in their division twice, or I think they're saying we'll play each team in their division twice. As usual, Buffalo will play home and away games against New England, New York, and Miami. We should say New Jersey. Buffalo will play all 4 teams from an AFC division. This year, Buffalo will play the AFC West. Buffalo will also play 4 games against an NFC division. Buffalo will see teams from NFC North to fulfill this part of the schedule. The Bills will play 2 games against teams in the remaining division of the AFC. Since Buffalo finished second, the Bills will face off against the second-place team in the AFC South and North. The 17th game is against a team from a non-conference team that finished in the same divisional place as the Bills. For this final game, the Buffalo will face off with the second-place team from the NFC West. And here's the Buffalo Bills' opponents. At home against the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Lions, the Bears. Away, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, Broncos, Raiders, Texans, Packers, Vikings, Rams. So those are the games on the list, on our schedule this year. Now, next week, the official schedule is released by the NFL. So I believe on Thursday. We're either going 10-7 or 14-3, no in between. I have us around, I'll be honest with you, around that 12-13 win game season. But I can see us winning 14. 10, I think we're better than 10. I got to be honest with you. Think about this. For as poor as we played last year, we still won, 12 games last year? Right? And we didn't play the best, right? Like, you got to be honest with you, right? Like, we had some letdown games in 2025, right? Yeah, we finished 12-5. So I don't expect us having multiple letdown games like we did last year. We should have beat the Dolphins. They were terrible, right? We should have beat the Atlanta Falcons. Let's be real, right? I understand the Patriots loss, right? It turned out that they were, obviously a good team that year. Defensively, they're a really good team. The Texans, I get it. They always give us fits, but those other losses there. You can't have those losses you can't lose against teams that you should beat, right? The Dolphins game is the one that really sticks out to me last year. Like that, you just cannot lose that game. You know, they lost to, you know, we lost to the Eagles, right? Home game against the Eagles. You can't lose that game, right? We were so close. You know, we had that winning streak too of 4 games in a row, and then you lose to the Eagles. Like, but for me, you know, even the Eagles one, even that one was, it didn't bother me as much as the Dolphins loss and the Falcons loss. Like that, those games were just unacceptable losses. Can't have those losses. So for me, I see us being better than 10 wins. I just do. Because we improved. Like you can't say this team didn't improve in this offseason. We gotten better, right? We the one thing that we struggled in on offense, we took care of. You know what I mean? With DJ Moore, right? We fixed that issue because really, truthfully, it was the only issue on the offense, like for the most part. Now, obviously, we had our other issues with Joe Brady, and you know, and hopefully he fixes that. The predictability, the scheme of having these slow, methodical drives, but I believe the scheme was more McDermott related. I just think that where Brady needs to be better at is understanding player strengths and using them the right way, you know, to help out this offense. And I believe he will. And I believe Carmichael will help him understand that as well. So I think, if anything, we improved this offseason. I'm still mad about that Falcons-Dolphins game. Yeah, games that. So think about it. You win against those two teams. We have 14 wins last year. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, and that's a great season, right? 14-3, I'll take it, right? So yeah, I just don't. Hopefully, we don't have those kind of meltdowns this year. You know what I mean? Like losing to teams you shouldn't lose to. It's really going to be dependent on if Brady, with a couple against a bad opponent. Yeah, I get you. Or whiffs against. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Let's see what else I got. Man, we are 3 hours in. Let's see here. And my computer is just killing me. Okay. I mean, you guys are still rocking with me, so I'll rock with you guys a little bit more. I got to fix this computer. I got to figure out what the hell's going on. All right, so I got another one here, and then I got one more, and then we'll get out of here. Hey, Tommy, do you guys talk about Breece Hall becoming the third highest paid running back? Cook isn't even in the top 10 now. In fact, Love will come into the league making more. Yeah, I mean, listen, I wasn't for paying James Cook, but I was dead wrong. I'll eat crow on that every time. So, you know, I'm glad they paid him, and I'm glad that he produced. The only thing I'll say about James Cook is he did lead the league in fumbles last year, running back, and he has to clean that up. You can't put the ball on the ground. So hopefully he cleans that up. Outside of that, I have no complaints about James Cook. James Cook has lived up to his contract and some, right? Just gotta clean that part of his game up is all, right? Like, and it's not like he's been a fumbling machine since we drafted him, right? Like last year was just a little bit, you know, it just wasn't what we were, used to when it comes to James Cook, right? It's not a ongoing issue with him. So hopefully it's behind him. He fixes it or whatever he needs to do, and he doesn't have those issues moving forward. We truthfully need more blowouts next year to keep players fresh during the season. Being in a close game against the Browns is unacceptable, and I agree. But I also blame that a little bit on Sean McDermott's coaching style, which once again is not here anymore. So we don't have to worry about that. At least I don't think we do. All right. So this article here is 4 position groups Bills improve through the draft, including most important spot on offense. Okay. So number 1, wide receiver. And they say Skyler Bell was one of the best picks, not only for the Bills, in 2026 slate, but the entire draft. It was great timing by Bean, who made up for it what I felt was a mistake in round 1 when the Bills traded back instead of actively pursuing one of their top tier wide receivers. See, I disagree. I once Casey Consumpcion got drafted to the Browns, I wasn't sold on Omar Cooper. I just wasn't. I didn't have him as a first round grade, and I felt like it would have been, in my opinion, a reach to take him. I think Skyler Bell is just as good, if not better, than Omar Cooper. Let's see here. The Bills' 4th round wide receivers challenged to become the Bills' wide receiver 3, as he has Josh Palmer in 2024 round pick Keon Coleman to beat out the summer of training camp. Yep. So yeah, so that's that. And it says also the Bills used their original 2nd round pick this year to make a move for DJ Moore, who, although he isn't a rookie, you see, I keep getting these pop-up, man. Something's going on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, guys. So look, I'm going to cut this short, guys, because I think I'm just going to wind up losing you guys. I got to work on my computer. Anyways, guys, we'll get to it on Monday night. I'll get to the rest that I missed. So, guys, I appreciate you guys rocking with me tonight. Sorry about the computer mishap that I had earlier. Hopefully I get that fixed and corrected. So, Bills Mafia, appreciate you rocking with me. I'll be back Sunday for episode number, I believe I'm on episode number 9 of the Down and Drought series. And we will be on 2008. Yeah, 2008 is where we'll be at on that. And yeah, it'll be episode 9. So 2008 Buffalo Bills Down and Drought at 1:00. So if you enjoy talking, reminiscing about the past and the drought, it's always a good time. Sundays at 1. It's a 17-part series, so we're close to we're getting there. We're getting there. So, anyways, Bills Mafia, I love you, and as always, go Bills. I'm out of here. Peace.
Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul, baby, feeling oh so